뽑아달라는 사람이 한 명만 있었어요.
핫한 슈퍼스타가 이번 조주명 씨가 왔습니다. BTS.
우승하는 거 보고 돌아왔거든요. 내가 막아야겠는데.
이야! 박한저그!
저 친구랑 저랑 좀 라이벌이거든요. 좀 어필하더라고요 저한테.
저는 객관화가 잘 돼 있어요. 지금 황금 고블린인데 제가 이번에 뽑아주시면은 오늘 하루 재욱이 형이 내가 되겠습니다.
와! 돌변 주인의 물건을
무조건 뽑아드립니다.
제가 또 애견인이거든요. 강아지를 좋아해요.
강아지 좋아해요. 강아지 네.
테란전 하면은 재욱형이거든요. 테란전 하는 게 낫지 않나. BTS는 저거는 단판 뽀록이 비싸요.
제가 되겠습니다. 제가.
예.
저 마음이 걱정됐어요.
바로 뽑아주시죠.
됐어요, 그쵸?
와! 태수!
와,
야!
진짜
와!
야,
바로 훈련이 됐는데요.
짖지도 않고 잘하는데요.
네.
둘이 또 은근 잘 어울려요.
다시 한번 물 준비는 끝났습니까?
그때 이제 제가 확실하게 못 물었거든요. 확실한 부위를 물겠습니다. 제가.
저도 또 별명이 또 도베르만이거든요. 제가 제대로 물어보겠습니다.
자, 케미의 그룹 B조.
다른 주에 비해서 꿈의 주호 같거든요. 면접 한번 보겠습니다.
하고 싶은 면접.
가고 싶습니다. 저 뽑아주세요. 저도 도저히 개가 될까요? 그러면 뽑으라는 사람 뽑아드리면 되죠 뭐.
지금 제 개를 보고 있습니다. 제.
애견해.
좀 빡센데요.
유영진은 개가 될 준비가 안 됐거든요.
아,
저는 하라는 대로 할 수 있을 것 같아요.
계란 무엇인가?
그렇죠.
김태교.
저는 개가 아니라 상모드를 해드리고요. 일꾼 하나에 비전 하나 빼고 할게요.
조금 흔들리는데 지금.
뽑아주면은 좋을 것 같긴 한데 프로토스를 뽑지 않을까.
많은 얘기했는데 일단은 좀 훈련시킬게요.
훈련.
네.
가장 탐나는 자리
김명훈.
김명훈.
야!
제가 또 어렸을 때부터 좋아했던 형님이기 때문에 한번 보고 싶어가지고.
솔직히 오게 될 줄 몰랐는데
응.
오고 나니까 뭔가 가족 같은 편안함이 있네요.
야! B조의 김명훈 선수 마이크 잡아주시고요.
자꾸 저를 길들이려고 하더라고요. 자꾸 막 누굴 뽑아라 하면서.
들어주기로 하고 간 거 아닙니까?
아니요, 저는 그런 말은
마이크는
안
안
했는데
했어요?
제 생각대로 뽑을 것 같기는 해요. 저는 프로토스를 선호합니다.
뽑아주세요, 명훈 씨. 올라갈 확률이 높은 조 같아요, 제가 가면.
명훈이 형한테 다전진 이겼는데 단판은 졌거든요. 택신이 원래 단판을 진짜 잘해요. 저를 뽑는 게 가능성이 높지 않을까.
둘의 눈치를 봤는데 김태교입니다. 비조는 각자 얼굴이 다 밝아요.
제일 괜찮은 조 같아요. 열심히 해가지고 잘하도록 하겠습니다.
플레이를 더욱 특별하게 만드는 즐거운 혜택.
Hello and welcome to Group B of the round of 16 here at ASL Season 20, done in partnership with Google Play and Gravity. In an unexpected turn of events, yesterday's matches saw defending champion Solki crumble in the round of 16, with Barracks and Effort moving on to the quarterfinals. Today, it's time for Group B. Let's have a word with our 4 players and see what's on their minds going into these games. Hello. Hello. First up, going into Group B as a seeded player, we have Best, who is a unique case in that this is his 20th appearance in the ASL, after 10 years of holding your own here. What are you looking for this season?
일단 이번 시즌은 다시 한번
I would like to once again contend for the championship this season. I was unfortunately unable to take it last time.
더 높은 곳까지 가고
I would like to get far for sure.
부족하지만
I know I'm still lacking, but I want to give it a go. And it all ties into you going to the limit last season. Not only the decider matches in the round of 24, the round of 16, but the round of 8, the semis, and the finals alike. The series went all the way to the rubber match. The fans were all on the edge of their seats. Do you think you'll be able to advance cleanly in first place this time?
그런다면 좋겠지만
That would be
저번
nice.
시즌도 경험이 나쁘지 않았어요.
Last season doesn't sting as much because by going all the way, rather I improved quite a lot. I just wish to advance however possible. Looking forward to your games today and beyond. Let's now talk to Best's pick, BTS. This is your first time playing in the round of 16 in the ASL. What is the air like? Does this feel different than the round of 24?
확실히 16강 오니까 이 멤버가
All of these guys in the round of 16 are bloodthirsty, so
일단 너무 경기하게 돼서 영광.
First of all, it's an honor to be playing here. I'll try to throw some punches today. BTS says he will throw some punches. We've seen you play best of one games both this and last season, but this will be your first time going at it in a best of three. I'm curious to see how you're going to fare against these guys in a best of three. Tell us a bit about how you prepared. Preparing for a best of three was tougher than I thought it would be. But I worked hard regardless, and I'll show you what I've got. Can't wait. Hope your hard work bears fruit today. Up next, we have Queen. You plowed through the ever so rough All-Zerg round of 24 group and joined this Group B that you were hoping for. How are you feeling ahead of the matches? Last time I got knocked out in the round of 8, and this time I would really like to get seeded. Having prepared, I can say this group will be tougher than I thought. The round of 16 won't be easy. One interesting point here is that for you, this group is identical to your round of 16 group last season in terms of races. Also, the fact that you're once again playing Bisu in the opening match. Last time you made it out in first place. What's your prediction for today? Last time Bisu played in windowed mode, so it wasn't too difficult to beat him. Now he has upgraded, so it won't be easy. Let's talk to the upgraded Bisu then. You advanced in first place, having shown a terrific performance in the round of 24. Are you ready to have a good showing today as well? I warmed up and it's looking good. I've been placed in the same group with Queen and Best quite a lot. I think I always ended up advancing. It would be nice if things followed the same pattern today. But recently, when you got tripped up in the round of 16, it was by a Zerg. First, in Season 18, in the decider match by Hero, and last season in the losers match by Action. As you drank from the bitter cup of elimination, today's Zergs are quite demanding as well. Don't you think things might get difficult? I always had an easy time against Queen, but he has gotten really good recently. It's a 50-50. But last time, yeah, I played in windowed mode, but now the sensitivity settings I've got, they're exactly the same as I have them at home, so please look forward to it. Got it. I love the back and forth banter between the players. Let's dive a little deeper with Group B. It seemed that during the group selection ceremony, only the players in Group B had hopeful, cheerful expressions. We saw that in the intro clip as well, where Bisu said the atmosphere feels like being amongst family. What about Best? How would you describe the Group B atmosphere? I think everyone wanted to end up in this group because I think I'm the weakest of the seeded players. And that also made me want to play against them. We all seem satisfied. And because of that, I think it's a level playing field. I wonder what made you feel like this is sort of a homely, family-like atmosphere, Bisu. I too feel like it's a level playing field. I wanted to see them, but BTS's 1-2 punch, Queen's momentum, and Best made it to the finals last season. Let me tell you, this isn't going to be an easy group like people think. Right, and of course, we can't forget to bring up this point. Yesterday, a tremendous upset unfolded as both defending champion Solki and Rush, who is on the up and up, were both eliminated. And just like you mentioned, it was actually BTS who started this trend of upsets this season. In the group selection, BTS, you said you would go around biting people. Is there someone here you want to take a bite out of as well? You know, Bisu said he would play in windowed mode and he would kill one of his workers. If he does that, I might beat him. Bisu, were you serious? Oh, that was if you had picked me. But I got picked by Queen. That is off the table now. Got it. Now, we also have quite the potential for a spectacular match today, a repeat of last season's round of 8 between Best and Queen. Queen was leading 3-1, but in the end, it was Best who turned it around with 3 wins in a row. I would be curious to see what would happen if you were to play today. What do the two of you think? I had to go through a lot of tough matches last season where I was on the back foot. I have a similar take on this season. but I seem to be doing better when I'm behind. It would be nice to get good results this time as well. And I'd like to hear from Queen too.
사실 그때 질 거라고는 생각
Honestly, I didn't think I could lose then. It was my first time losing to Best in the ASL.
다시는 안 질 수 있게
I will make sure that doesn't happen again.
다양한 기억, 다양한 기록이 있기 때문에
Various memories, various results. Can't wait to see what happens today. Let's close things out with our 4 players with final remarks, starting with Best. For starters, this seems like a tough group, but I prepared well and I hope for a good result. Thank you.
16강 이렇게 처음
This is my first time in the round of 16.
경기 열심히 해보겠습니다.
I will play my best.
준비하면서 좀 어렵긴 했는데
It was
그래도
tough
원했던
preparing.
조에 온 만큼
However, seeing how I
할
ended up in the
있습니다.
group I wanted, I'll make sure to advance to the round of 8.
8강 한번 가보고 싶습니다.
I would like to make the quarterfinals again after a while. I'll do my best. We've just heard from our players ahead of Group B of the round of 16. Thank you for the interview. What stories await in the second round of 16 group of ASL Season 20 done in partnership with Google Play and Gravity? It's time to start the games.
What's up, everybody? We're back here, and we're going to be going into Group B. 2 Protosses and 2 Zergs for this group, Tastosis.
Yeah, I almost didn't show up today, but you know what? You were here for me yesterday. I'm going to be here for you today. So there we are. But this is, I think that this is a really interesting group. It looks like a lot of fun to me. Even the big underdog in True, I think, can maybe make some upsets. And, you know, when Bisu's a little bit of an underdog, which I think he is, that has to be an interesting group because I still think Bisu's like right on the edge of round of 8 quality.
Yeah, I think BTS or True could cause some real surprises here. I think he's been in great shape. I think for a lot of people that have been following ASL for a long time and maybe not following StarCraft 2, they might not truly appreciate what a good player he is. Bisu's a bit of a toss-up for me here. I mean, Best has improved quite a bit, but it's always a little bit hard to count Bisu out. That being said, I do think that Queen and Best have looked a little bit better than him.
Yeah, Queen and Best are both 100% round of 8 guys. Like, I really, really expect them to get there no matter what group they're put into. So that does make it a little hard for Bisu, but I love Bisu. Like, who doesn't love Bisu? He's one of these, like, you can't find a player from any race that doesn't respect, appreciate, and enjoy to watch Bisu games. So if he gets his way into the next round, that's not going to be a big surprise, I think.
I think this group could go any way, honestly. We got to see how Queen is going to be performing here. You know, will he be able to play the kind of games that we've seen in the past, or is he going to be... Well, hold on, my cat's jumping on the desk here. Will he be...
Yeah, sorry, she just jumped off my lap onto yours there. It's
what was I lost my train of thought? Will we see? I don't know, Tastosis, you talk. I don't know. The cat jumped here and it totally threw me off.
I erased your brain completely. Well, look,
yes.
Best made the finals last season. He looked fantastic doing so. His PVZ has truly evolved. And, you know, I would put Best and Bisu at, like, kind of similar levels PvP. I don't feel like I have a good grasp on who would be better in that matchup. But Best has already shown that he can hang with basically anyone in the PvZ matchup. So, yeah, I'm really kind of looking to him to get out of this group. And Queen, I think, is back in really good shape. You know, he had that little bumpy patch where he got eliminated by an A-rank Terran that just went center barracks over and over. And like got made fun of heavily for that. Hero went on to lose to him the next season, but yeah, he's back. I think. Like every time I watch Queen games, I'm like, yep, he's in great shape. Like if he were to get a top 4, it wouldn't surprise me. You know, like because Queen in good shape is obviously he's won 2 championships. That's ridiculous.
Oh yeah,
we don't even have that many champions. It's kind of hilarious when you think about it. It's like 4 to Sulky, like 4 to Flash. 2 to Effort, 2 to Queen. It's like, damn, man, guys, you need to share.
Yeah, you know, but he was really doing that in a different time for StarCraft 1. But I think you're right. Like, he's someone who's back. He's looking to be in good shape. He could quietly get super deep into this tournament. And I think this group is going to be a big test of that.
Yeah, it's a fun group. Like, I kind of hope it's PvZ all night. Like, I wouldn't.
You don't
want
to do PvP? I love
actually,
PvP, Tastosis.
I would like to see Best versus Bisu, but I've already had enough ZVZs this season. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, sure.
I really after that 4 Zerg group, it's like, okay, well, I'm pretty done with that matchup right now. So I don't really want to see True versus Queen, but I actually would like to see Best Bisu. So that could be fun. Maybe it's like the final match or something. But yeah, it's kind of funny because last season, remember, we were talking about it. We didn't have one Zerg versus Zerg the whole season.
Yeah, we literally didn't get the matchup at all.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. We always get every matchup. I mean, when you think of how many possible games we get in an ASL and, you know, the different pairings and stuff, the idea we didn't get a single ZVZ is crazy.
Yeah, that was
but we definitely got our ZVZ matches in now.
Yeah, had a lot of those. So we're just going to do the rest of the day today on this matchup today screen, just so you guys know. That's the difficulties we have today.
To stay up for a little bit longer. Yeah, so guys, in this one, they just couldn't get the games on screen, but the sound works.
Yeah, we'll do our best on that. All right, so yeah, we have Best playing first here. You can see he's got quite a nice win rate versus Zerg. You know, had a 6 season last season. And yeah, I don't know. He's in great shape, man. I love watching Best. Always have. Always will.
I think that a lot of people are just a big fan of Best. I don't think, you know, there's certain players I think you got to be a student of the race to appreciate. And then there's people that appeal to everybody, like Jadong. But Best is definitely one of those players. I think his play style is fun.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of cool approaches. I mean, he uses Dark Archons a lot. That's
more
exciting.
than anyone. Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, when you look at a player like True here, I'm most excited by the fact that we had a guy that was one of the best StarCraft 2 players like 10 or 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Didn't hear much from him at all, and now he's back. And this is this embodies the beauty of the state of StarCraft, is that it's never going to go away. It's always going to be here. And, you know, we're all going to be around for a long time. So take some time off, come back. I'm sure a lot of you guys grew up on this game. Maybe you watched the Pro Circuit. Maybe the Pro Circuit's new to you. But, you know, it's going to be here. It's here now. It's been over a quarter of a century. It's going to be here a quarter of a century later. So you got somebody like True coming back into this and now competing in an ASL up against the likes of Best. Guys, let's go into our first match here in Group B.
Oh my God.
God.
They are crazy.
Someone call an ambulance for that person.
Holy crap. Best has some fans. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, at top left, we have Best. Bottom right, we're going to have True. I actually wanted to speak some more on what you just said. You know, True has come back, and here he is now. He's hitting ASL multiple seasons. He won ACS last season. Here he is, you know, in the round of 16 after getting through a very, well, what should have been a difficult group, but was just a bunch of throws. You know, the funny thing is he's been back playing F1 for like a really long time now. Like that's right. He's been back. Like I remember it was years ago that I was like, oh, I actually was like, who is this guy? And I think Scan was like, oh, that's Bang Tae-soo. I'm like, oh, True he's back. And like a lot of the StarCraft 2 guys have come back. TY seems to have he's one of the greatest ever in StarCraft 2 and then returned, and he's been able to get into ASL pretty quickly and do pretty well. But we have like some other guys that are coming right now. Like MC is getting really close to being an ASL player, and it's going to be really fun as more of those players kind of get in and become maybe regulars in ASL. That's like kind of a dream, I think, for you and I, is to have these guys that we casted in StarCraft 1 and then we casted in StarCraft 2, and now maybe they'll become regulars in StarCraft 1 again.
Yeah, you know, you come from one of the 2 StarCrafts. It's whichever one you started to follow first. And, you know, we have a lot of people that got to know us through our casting, not us playing or competing. And that was in StarCraft 2. And, you know, now a decent amount of them have also tuned in to see our StarCraft 1 work. By the way, this can be a cannon rush. There's 2 probes scouting. The drone is hidden in a position where it can actually get the block. So he's going to run through, and I don't think he can force it out. And, you know, this is really True being extremely preemptive because Best, I think, cannon rushes more than anybody else in the ASL.
Yes, he does.
When people see the cannon rush, by the way, it's just an answer to hatchery first. I mean, there are cannon rushes that are designed like, oh, you didn't see it coming because they hit it somewhere weird and they sent the probe in a weird way. But basically, when you open up Forge first, you're planning on expanding. But if you see hatchery first, meaning they're not respecting your Forge opening, yeah, I mean, you can just try a cannon rush. It's really hard to stop for the Zerg.
And that's actually True doing some very good homework because, you know, you and I have casted every single ASL game and season and everything. And so we're very aware that Best, even when no one was cannon rushing, he was the only player cannon rushing each season, but he always mixes it in. So really great to hear. And actually, I did want to mention, you know, from the interview yesterday with Barracks, True is actually the one that gave Barracks the idea of the build order he killed Sulky with. So that's kind of a neat thing, I think, right? Like, we see this guy that just was super prepared. Best was going for a cannon rush. He sent the probe behind the mineral patches, but True is ready for him. And that just kind of like, that, I feel like that's adding some depth to him as a player right now, where we're like, oh, is True actually becoming like this really strategic guy? Maybe.
Well, when you think of Best as a guy who goes Forge opening a lot, and oftentimes cannon rushes, because if he sees hatch first, he'll just go for it. He's going to be playing a kind of game that he hasn't done anywhere near as much of, right? If your default, you know, decision tree is to cannon rush, very rarely are you denied that. I don't think it's going to affect the game that much, but it is just pointing out that, yeah, Best is playing an opener he probably doesn't do anywhere near as much, since he's always trying to cannon rush versus this. So in this game, it's going to be 3 hatches with a layer. The probe is just making circles inside the main. So when you see the layer, you basically know it's not going to be a Hydra Den. Unless they kill that and then make the Hydra Den, there is like one super cheesy trick. But I don't think this is going to be killed right away. And so now you send the first Zealot up into the 3rd base and you wedge it behind the minerals. And this is a great way to continue to watch and see, are you going to be droning this, or are you going to be making units and trying to do some kind of a timing?
I've loved to see the types of pressure Best has put out in his Protoss for Zerg. And in fact, one of the things that I was mentioning when I was going over the groups, when I saw that Best had picked True as his opponent.
Oh my God, he did it.
Oh.
He did it.
Oh, he did? Yeah. Okay, I'm not.
Yeah, he actually did it.
Yeah.
As I brought it up, I thought, there's no way. Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm not surprised. I was actually going to build towards that, is that, so I've actually casted a ton of True Zerg vs. Protoss games on my casting channel, Tastosis casts, and True is a big 3-hatch Hydra into Hydra Muta guy. Like, that's most of his games. And the thing is, Best showed us last season, he's incredibly strong against that. Remember, he was going like 3-gate Zealot legs with like a couple Corsairs out in the map and just crushing people that were trying that last season. So I think he chose True because I don't think Best is afraid of 3-hatch Hydra like at all.
Yeah, I think you're right. This is a really smart move here from Best. Sorry, from True, rather. So he's going to have the Corsair coming. Now, the Corsair can start to spot the Hydras in time. Let's see if he tries to maneuver the Hydras around this or anything. And the Corsair is the last thing that can sound the alarms, excuse me. And he's going to go for the Overlord.
That might not be good, right?
So,
like, he might not scout those for too late.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so there are situations where if you're not totally sure you can get there and kill an Overlord before the Scourge come out. And by the way, this has been a growing trend in general in PvZ, is for cross spawns like this, players to just go for the Overlord outside the base. Now, that does actually protect you from Hydra busts with a DT.
Oh!
We should point that out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But, you know, right now there's no DT, and there's a lot of Hydras coming up here.
Uh-oh. This does not look good right now for Best, Tastosis. I am not feeling it for him this game. We might have another huge upset in the first game of Group B here, as True just jumps right through. Best completely unready. He does get a DT out, so maybe there's still a little chance that he can live through this.
I mean, I think he will live through it, but it's going to be a lot of probes that are killed here. You know, the DT is not that fast. Hydra's, their attack is so quick, and so this is a lot of probes just being killed. Yeah, the DT will eventually come up here. It'll kill off some of these. And we have 2 Corsairs that are slowly going to kill off some of these Overlords down here. But, man, I mean, the final Hydra is going to be killed off, and I was unable to count how many probes were actually wiped out there. I mean, from here, as long as the Overlords can stay alive at each base, oh my god, he's actually going to dive in here and try to hit again.
I do like that there's a second DT kind of maybe guessing that this would occur. He can kill the Hydras a lot quicker, and in fact, look at that. We have 3 DTs out now. This does not look good for Best.
You just need things to fight.
Yeah.
No, I think making the DTs continuously is fine right now because, like, you can't make Templars. They're just going to shoot him down. And maybe you get some counterplay here. Like, there is a world where maybe you send, like, 4 DTs across the map with Corsairs and you can kill the Hydras that are protecting the Overlords, but I think Best is almost finished. Or finished off, I should say. Like, I don't think the counterplay is going to be very good. We got 2 more hatches coming down. We're actually... Yeah, we have 2 more and an Evo chamber. So he's done his damage, and now he's going to go into a game that should be pretty easy for him to play, and Best is going to be pretty strained to try to get anything done.
Yeah, it looks like such a tough situation. I'm not even sure how he should, like, approach this. He's got, like, all these DTs. I guess we could see a Dark Archon come out from Best. You know, True, if you follow the way True plays, he almost certainly will go into Mutalisks from here and just go, like, Hydra Muta. He loves to snipe High Templars, so, you know, maybe like he's wasteful with those and some Maelstroms can help and maybe Best can fight back in that way, but as of right now, looking at this, I find it hard to believe that Best is going to be able to pull out this game.
Right. Well, I guess the issue is that usually when you Maelstrom the Mutas and then you kill that off, then you have so many Templars that you storm all their Hydras. I'm worried right now, the problem for Best is that there's going to be so many Hydras, it doesn't matter what you do with a Dark Archon versus Mutas. Like, there just might be a situation where it's going to be so tough to not be overwhelmed. But if anybody can do it, it's going to be Best. You know, right now we have that Spire started, and I think, you know, you were saying you've casted a bunch of his games on your YouTube channel, Tastosis. This game is looking probably like what those games look like. I mean,
very
much. He's got the Hydras. he's amassing that. There's the Dark Archon that we see for the Mutas. I think both sides probably know what each other are going to do. I think Best is probably had the most success versus Hydra Muta, but, you know, it's going to come down to if he can actually take that out and have the muscle there to fight. And I think that having a 4th base is going to be, when that starts, looks like the DT gets it, but you know, when he actually starts to get that, that should put pressure on Protoss to move out. But look at how small the army is right now. He's got the Dark Archon hidden, he's got the 4 Templars, he's got some Zealots, but there's a lot of Hydras in this game.
Well, you know, he's got to kind of weather that storm. I would say one thing that I would like your opinion on this, right? So it looks like True is going to do what I was talking about, but you and I have discussed it, and I think a lot of people would agree that this seems to be a really good Hydra Lurker map. Like, a Lurker Contain here is incredibly strong over the bridges on that high ground. Are you, like, do you like the fact that he's going to go with his normal style that he's, like, more comfortable and better with? Or do you think he should adapt to the map and just be like, nah, man, Lurker Contain is unbreakable here? Because I feel like if you just set up Lurkers at this point, Best will never break out, whereas against the Mutas, I don't know, maybe with good Maelstroms, you know?
I mean, you know, it's a good way to play, but I think the Muta style here is easier.
For sure.
You know, but hold on, he's getting a Queen's Nest, which usually means they're going to attack in a hive. So is he going to skip it?
Yeah,
we don't actually have, you know, the 11 Mutas out yet. We might have been a little bit deterministic with what the outcomes are going to be, but if he's going to just keep teching up, that's another way to do it.
What would he be looking for? Like just the Adrenal upgrade?
I mean, I think everything hive. So, you know, Adrenalings are always great. You want to get Dark Swarm for the Lurkers. I mean, basically, Protoss can't push anymore after Dark Swarm is done. It's just like you have with Terran versus Zerg, right? Like once the first Dark Storm Cloud goes down, you're kind of in, especially when it's mass lurkers, you go, okay, well then this is, not the same game anymore.
Yeah.
And again, we don't see the mutas, so there could be nothing but lurkers put everywhere. And when that happens, you basically can't really make many more Dragoons. Oh, is he going to get this? Oh, God. Best is so good at slowing these down.
He is.
Getting drone kills like that is one of the best things you can do to just delay the inevitable growth of the Zerg. But to the point I was making earlier, yeah, if you have Dark Storm coming down, then you really got to mask up Archons. You got to start to rely on Storms. I've seen players that like to rely on Reavers there. There are a lot of top players like Mini and Snow who don't seem to want to switch into Reaver and instead just kind of stay on Zealot, Archon, Templar, constantly storming, trying to take fights where you can. But it becomes a lot more of a grueling battle at that point in time.
Yeah, I do wonder if we'll see any of those here. It feels like it's really rare at this point to see anyone go into those Reavers in the late game. But it does also feel like you kind of need them. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit tricky. The thing is, people have gotten so good with Defiler play. It's like even if you have those lurkers at an expansion, they just come in, plague everything, and it all dies anyways. I tell you, man, the Defiler, I have a whole list of things I'd love to change about that unit.
I can't believe how many kills this is getting.
Yeah.
This is happening right under True's nose. Every DT is going to die, and he still hasn't figured this out, and now the DT is just going to move to the next target. By the way, that's when you see a really good Protoss player, is they just get the kills, and they're like, okay, on to the next thing. Not a swipe is going to hit the hatchery. We're going to find anything else and try to get value of it. If we can't do that, we're going to run away and hide the DT somewhere else. So we've got the 3-base Protoss versus the 5-base Zerg. True looks impregnable.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be so hard to push. This push from Protoss would have come a little bit sooner, and it probably would have been maxed out. Imagine a world where that Hydra attack had not happened. This would have been much tougher, but I think True has basically decided to make the game very simple and very easy for himself from here on out. Now, I'm saying that, but there's nothing defending this base. I kind of thought there was a bunch of lurkers here, but apparently not. But True's going to go for a counterattack instead.
Well, that kind of makes sense, but Best is being very smart. He's just leaving a small handful of units to kill that 6 o'clock hatchery and sending the rest of his army home. So if he has enough to just slow this attack a little bit, I don't think he'll die to this counterattack. Like, probably this 3rd Nexus will go down. That's a lot of Zerglings and Hydras, so I think probably he might be able to pick this off if he just right-clicks it. But Best should be able to save the rest of his stuff, at least.
So he's coming across the map now, and I mean, oh god, it's so painful when Protoss gets knocked onto 2 bases, especially at this point in time. Like, the main and the natural are moments away from drying up, and ideally you would want to have 2 bases as Protoss. I mean, Best is kind of doing what he can with the limited options he has. It's not the end of the world for Protoss, by the way, although it's pretty close to it. You know, there isn't a 5th base up and running. Protoss is reclaiming this space, but once again, True's going to counterattack it.
Well, now with Darkstorm down, it's going to get even worse here for Best, unfortunately. The Darkstorm going to really negate mostly what these Dragoons do. Zergling's actually attacking and canceling some cannons there. Best definitely needs to get a 3rd Nexus up once again. Definitely having a very, very hard time. Very similar supplies, which is always Zerg favored, especially at Hive.
Yeah, and Hive, you know, a lot of times Protosses win games with the push. Doesn't mean they can't win the game with a long, drawn-out kind of macro fight, but that tends to slightly favor the Zerg. You know, we don't have the Zerg in the top right or the bottom left. That would be another indicator if Zerg could hold that it's going to be even harder for Protoss to take this. And hey, you know what? That's all you got to do. If you can force him to cancel, maybe throw some storms in there, that works.
Dark Archon here looking for a feedback, but wasn't quite in range, unfortunately. The Plague does go down onto some of these Dragoons and Zealots. Man, Plague just so incredibly strong, bringing everything down to like 2 health underneath the shields, which take full damage from everything. Very, very rough for Protoss when Plague starts coming out.
Yeah, Plague sucks. It's hard to deal with. We can see, nice job. He's going to freeze these Lings. Now, remember, that was made for the the Dark Archon was made for mutas, but it still has utility in these games. I mean,
sure.
in a moment like that, freeze the lings. If you can see, like, let's say you find 5 or 6 lurkers running around unburrowed, great moment to freeze that too.
Absolutely. They stop lurker attacks from underground, right? So you can utilize them there as well. And, of course, the feedback is a big deal. Mind control, not
Feedback's
something you're
handy.
ever likely to see. Mind control is not that good.
It's not like impossible. Like if the game got crazy, like the map was split in half and Protoss started to just like get a ton of money, I guess there's a world you could like try to get a speed shuttle and a Dark Archon, but probably never going to happen in any of our casts ever. But you know, if it were to ever come up, it would be in a moment like that. And that's just, you know, it's just too hard to get to that point when you have 2 pros playing.
The only time I remember mind control being a factor in a pro game was in a Protoss versus Protoss. It was like I believe there was a stalemate that game where there was like cannons and carriers against Dark Archons and cannons or something like that, and like the map was mined out, and it's like, yeah, you can't attack with carriers.
Yeah, whenever you see carriers in a PvP, and there's a couple weird maps where you can do it, and you know, you'll see weird stuff at like certain ranks in the ladder. It can be countered by Dark Archon. You can just start making a bunch of Dark Archons, and they can mind control the carriers.
Was that your final answer to the Mudman build, Tastosis? For people that don't know, Tastosis has run into one base carrier builds on his stream.
I was years ago, but yes. Yeah, no, actually, that is how you counter it, is you go for Dark Archons really fast, and it just doesn't work. Or you attack them before the 4 carriers come out. By the way, they're both hitting each other in a mirrored position right now. This base is going to fall for True, and I think there's an... Oh, never mind. Dark Swarm is a good ability. Okay, so this base is going to go down. I thought with the cannons there was no way to get up, but yeah, he's going to lose that. So, look, I mean, Best is getting some wins, but I think True is still too big. He's still the favorite right now.
Definitely. He is all over the place and going after this mineral base. This is basically all the I have right now. And yeah, it looks like he's not going to be able to clean it up. Like, True, Best got back here very quickly, but True is taken top right. He's taken 6 o'clock again. I feel like True is still in a much better position.
Well, I mean, look, if Protoss has a base and Terran hasn't taken too much of the map, I mean, there's still a way to do it. But this is looking really bad here for Best. Now, maybe there's a world where he just keeps this uphill fight going and takes the game. But, you know, whenever True loses a base, another one pops up somewhere else. Oh, I love this. Ooh. He's going to keep this DT on hold position until the drones are transferred. No, never mind. Just with 4 drones there. He's just going to come in there, get the kills, and then...
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. So much damage from DTs this game. It's insane. Just craziness. And look at this. Now a DT just walking in and killing all these lurkers as well. This is brutal. Best is fighting back so strongly.
Yeah, Best is putting up a hell of a fight, man. He's got to get these storms blanketed over in this base here. If there's enough storms with the Zealots, I think he can hold. But, you know, if he loses this base, he has no income. Best right now does not have the money for a Nexus. So, like, he needs to keep these workers alive. Even the workers he loses here, oh, he's just going to dive on it. Oh, my God. Oh, he's going to storm the corner. I think he saves it still.
Very important Nexus save there. No question about that. That was a little bit scary there for Best because, you know, he's got like a tiny little bit of mineral patches left in his natural and not too much else. So he is retaking 9, and I don't know. It feels like Best is outplaying True, but True has just had a better lead the entire game.
I mean, it's painful to watch. I think this probably feels like some games you play as Terran Artosis, or anybody's played as Terran, where like you have a base and they have a lot of the map. It's like you're fighting and it's kind of hopeless, but they haven't finished you off yet. I mean, you know, where is Protoss going to grow from here? He can take the center left. He can take like 12 o'clock. There's no clear path to victory in sight. Best is got the right tech. He's got Archons. He's got Zealots, which are brutally being plagued. And he's going to have some more Templars. And what he's going to try to do now is just trade in. Storm down what you can avoid the lurkers, avoid the plagues if possible. Take fights when it looks like you can take them. And another thing to eye on the map for now is going to be the bottom left, because someone's going to have to take that. Right now, Protoss can't take the top right, and so not just the main, but the bases around it tend to just not go to Protoss. And it's possible Zerg can grow into those areas too. Here's another great moment. He's taken another fight. By the way, Observer speed and I think vision range have not been upgraded. Might be a good moment to do that here.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Well, actually, sometimes I wonder if you should get speed against Zerg for Observers. Like, the range makes a lot of sense, but with speed when you attack moves, sometimes it flies into the Hydras too quickly. I don't know what you would think about that. I don't play enough PvZ, but...
There's definitely moments for that. I mean, you kind of just, controlling Observers is maybe one of the hardest things Protoss has to do, if not the hardest, because, like, the number of times you can just lose a fight because you don't have an Observer here. I mean, it truly is the Raze's Achilles heel, but I think when you get this late in a game where you're roaming a lot, you're generally not 1A, 2A, 3A moving across the entire map. You're kind of sharking around looking for fights, and it really helps to have the Observers lead, because then you don't walk into lurker shots.
That makes sense. Okay, another attack here on the mineral base. Like, True has really been diving on this, trying to finish it off, and Best has done a great job so far defending it. A huge attack across the map. You see just endless Hydraling lurker coming up. He's got those 3/3 upgrades, but Best just continues to hold on. He's got enough High Templars. He just keeps on bringing up more units, but I don't know. Is he going to be able to hold it this time?
I mean, it looks dicey. We see Best coming around the side here. I think we saw some of the Observers attempted to be sniped. Good control by Best. Now he's going to move up. The Nexus is so low, it might just get picked off, even if the army can fight this. And remember, these are the only probes I think Best has. I think everything that was in the main and the natural was sent over here. Oh my god!
Yeah, it's looking a little bit rough for his economy, but his DTs continue to deal damage. He got all the drones at the top right again. Absolutely insane. These two are dealing so much damage to each other. Now Crackling's coming in to kill this 9 o'clock base. Best has lost so many Nexuses this game. His economy is in tatters, and he's at 75 supply against 133. I think True has done enough to secure this game now.
Yeah, well, especially after he basically got the fourth base down. Really Best isn't able to participate in his side of the map or push.
Well,
so I mean, it's looking rough.
I can't imagine how he can set up an attack to kill top right, because top right I think is enough to just kind of win this game for True. And Best, it's like he can barely afford any units right now. His supply is so low. Even the greatest storms in the world, I think True can just man mode his way through.
Some more storms coming down. A very small Protoss army is pushing out. It's 66 supply overall. Most of that's in what we see on screen here. There are probes, but I mean, this almost feels like the last venture out onto the map. There's nowhere he can really hit. A world where Zerg just closes in from all sides will probably result in this game ending, which, by the way, just like yesterday, the start of another crazy upset in a group that I think we all thought was so much more certain.
Well, that's the thing about True. He can cause these upsets. He did that layer cancel. We saw by the one cannon at the front and the one in the main that Best really thought it was going to be a Muta opener. But it was not. True tricked him, and look at this. True, maybe a Cinderella story for this ASL.
Just incredible. He's got to be happy with that. Defeating Best is no small feat.
Yeah.
Best put up a good fight. He really did. But, True, he really got his damage in early. I think he could have done, if I'm going to be critical, and I don't normally like doing this when players win, could have maybe closed it out a little bit more cleanly, but
sure.
Best stayed in there. He kept fighting, as he should, right? He's fighting for his tournament life.
Well, that's rough to see Best go down to the loser match. Imagine if it just mirrors Group A. And it's like, yeah, the first place guy, Solky, he thought his ZVT was good and he could beat Barracks. Oh, he couldn't. Oh, Best, he thought his PVZ was good and he could beat True. No, he couldn't. We literally have the finalists both losing to the two players that they thought were
Well, guys, we're off to an amazing group here. Many more PVZs to come. Maybe a couple mirror matchups sprinkled in there. Yeah, I'm excited to see what's going to come next year. Again, we could have maybe this be the craziest group section ever. I'm sorry, round of 16 ever. Guys, quick break. We'll be right back.
Made for the best. Made for who you can be.
Welcome back, everybody. That was crazy long, that first game.
Yeah, it was.
The show has been going on for almost an hour now.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show you we got a lot more action to go through tonight.
Yeah, and just real quick, guys, we realized that there might have been just a slight audio issue. We're not sure how that occurred, but it should be good now. Apologies about that, but everything should be good moving forward. But yeah, that game was kind of crazy, and watching these upsets is. I don't remember there ever being an upsets quite like this. If Best gets eliminated, that's going to be kind of the moment where we're like, damn, things are truly changing in ASL at this point. Like the finalists are having trouble in the round of 16.
I mean, you always expect one or two upsets in an ASL, right? Otherwise, these tournaments wouldn't be interesting at all. But you never think it's going to be like back to back to back, all the way through Group A into Group B. But here we are. I mean, True, he just had to win one game, and he has. Obviously, Best is still going to be able to fight from the losers section and could come out in the final section of this. But, I mean, I wonder how crazy the round of 8 could be if this trend continues on, Artosis.
We might have an unrecognizable round of 8. I don't know. It would be insane if someone like True made it through. But yeah, here we go into Bisu versus Queen. This is obviously a ridiculously good match. You know, Queen being just, I mean, who he is, a 2-time ASL champion at this point and everything. And Bisu still looking for that big victory in ASL. Hasn't been able to do it yet. He has been practicing hard. He's in good shape. Like, I feel like he's in good shape. I watch and cast a lot of Bisu games. He's more active practicing than most of the other top pros. So I hope he can show that here.
This should be a fun one. We're going to go to knockout for our best of 1 with these two. Queen and Bisu ready to go. Remember, it's going to be True in the winners match here and best in the losers. So for both of these guys, they're going to be very eager to just get out and get to that winners match with that opportunity to move on to the round of 8. Let's do this. Okay, Queen here in the bottom left, Bisu in the top right. And, you know, Bisu, he's a guy that never got into StarCraft 2. I don't ever remember him in any single tournament. In fact, I kind of remember asking around when there was the switch over. And by the way, the switch from many StarCraft 1 players to StarCraft 2 players was not on the date StarCraft 2 came out. It was not on the date that GSL started. There was a whole bunch of these guys on Kespa teams. Many of them were not allowed to play. It's kind of a weird time in the history of StarCraft because it felt like there were a lot of opportunities, but also uncertainty involving StarCraft 2. We now know the truth was there was a ton of money to be made in StarCraft 2. There still is a ton of money to be made. We just got back from the Esports World Cup with a $700,000 prize purse. But, you know, a lot of those guys, when it was time for the Kespa players to switch over, they did. Bisu wasn't there. And I don't remember exactly when this was because it was just so long ago. But I remember seeing some videos of Bisu playing online when StarCraft 2 was still, you know, being attempted here in Korea. And thinking, man, he is just in love with this game. Yeah. He's just not going to switch over to the next thing. He doesn't care about the money. He doesn't care about the opportunities. And I remember right when we came back, you know, before StarCraft Remastered was even out, but the ASL had started, he was like one of the first guys we were back to casting, and he looked just as good as ever.
Yeah, the you know, when the StarCraft 2 beta first came out and everything, like I was living with the Estro team at the time, and I actually installed some StarCraft 2 betas on their PCs, and actually a lot of the early strong players were Estro players because it was like the lowest paying team. And so a lot of people looked at it as an opportunity, like, for instance, Bomber and Trickster and so, you know, actually even Fruit Dealer was an Estro player back in the day. So, like, that little, like, group started playing quite a bit. And a lot of the Kespa guys, you know, they're on these high-paying teams playing StarCraft 1. They were forced into the Pro League that had both StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2, which was a really weird time where you had to practice for both games, and players were required to swap what game they were playing each week. So, like, Bisu couldn't play 2 StarCraft 1 games in a row. He had to play StarCraft 1, then StarCraft 2. And this, it was actually really funny to see what happened. Like, certain matchups, like, for instance, the Terran versus Protoss win rate went down to almost nothing at that time. It fell to, like, an astoundingly low because people were spread too thin in practice. So, anyways, it was a very interesting time, but you're very right that Bisu was never really interested in playing StarCraft 2, and he has kind of always been stalwart, I'm playing StarCraft 1 forever type of guy.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that until you brought it up, that weird time where they had StarCraft 2 and StarCraft 1 in the same league.
Yeah, it was weird.
That was very short-lived, too. I remember even when it was happening, people were kind of like, is this the way it's going to be?
It sucked.
Yeah, I don't really blame him for trying. I kind of get it, but yeah, that's what happened. So he's gone for a gateway opening. He's putting some pressure here on Queen's 6 o'clock hatchery. Queen took a hatchery very far away from home.
Yeah, that is.
And he's going to just really go for this position over here.
Why would he want that base as opposed to, like, let's say the mineral base?
I don't know. He might have been blocked. I'm not totally sure. To be honest, I wasn't paying that close attention.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a strange place to put it. It can be maybe not bad if you're going to Hydra Bust. You know, it's a little bit closer.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not even by that much, I guess, when I look at where it's at. But yeah, it looks like it was pushed or forced over there. By the way, Bisu went for a cybernetics core here at the entrance. So with the 2 zealots he put pressure on here with, he's going to go for the forge skipping opening. Doesn't mean he won't get a forge. In fact, he has to eventually here. But when you go for a cybernetics core really fast, suddenly you get the Stargate out insanely quickly. So there's the forge back here. But you also get to protect your forge in the sense that it's in your main. The core is important, but it doesn't have the same... and it's going to sound weird because the core gives you all your tech in the game. It doesn't have the same significance at the entrance that the Forge does, because the Forge is upgrading +1 attack and will eventually get armor too. So when you lose the Forge, you've lost your upgrade for the game. The core, you know, it's a bit beefy, but it's not like you're trying to get, you know, necessarily air weapons. You're not necessarily trying to get Dragoon range, you know, early on. So even if you get in a situation where that's going to be killed off, you're not losing something that the building itself was important in making.
Well, think about it. If you want to get +1 air attack, definitionally they are not going to break the core because they're not doing a Hydra rush. Like you would not get +1 air attack against a 3-hatch Hydra opener. So
that's a really good point. It makes perfect sense. Yeah, I hadn't quite thought about it like that, but yeah. Right, you're never like, oh no, air weapons is the Hydras that are going to blow it up.
Yeah, it would be. It's like, well, why haven't you canceled that, you idiot? Like, you need to get High Templars out, not +1 air attack. But yeah, he is getting that +1 air attack now because he's identified that this is not going to be any sort of Hydralisk rush. I think it's a great opener for Bisu so far. You know, he's really, I feel like he's the king of these Zealot openers. Him and Mini are both so good with these. Just really great movement, great micro. Look at this decision-making as well. Pops in there, kills a drone already. Very good micro. He'll end up losing these Zealots, but they're getting as much done as they possibly could.
Yeah, just getting some damage in here. He's doing a great job with the rotations. Decides to go in and dive on that drone. Nicely done.
Crazy. Really, really good snipe right there. Now, the Corsair out, going to work on this Overlord in the main base of Queen, and the other one working on the Overlord in the main base of Bisu. Bisu looking fantastic so far. Really, really great opening to this game, I feel like.
Yeah, he's going to get 2 Overlords, and he'll be able to get out here. By the way, we're seeing the continuation of that trend where they just go for the Overlords first instead of the full-on Scout. And now, you know, he's doing the +1 air weapons, by the way. I think Bisu does this more than anybody else. I probably said this in previous casts, but I'm always waiting to see if he's going to not do it in one of these games. But he basically just kind of leans into the Zealots, but he's getting a second Stargate here, and that's hidden down in his natural.
Yeah. So a couple things. Bisu is the best Corsair user, without question. He kind of popularized getting mass Corsair in the matchup anyways. That was kind of the part of the revolution that he had there against Savior. But yeah, the double Stargate is something that I've been talking about a lot, and you and I have talked about some as well, where we saw some of this flick shot micro that Mini was doing to kill Scourge, and the speed with which a 2 Stargate Corsair user can now move out onto the map. And you see this double creep colony, I bet you he's going to make a spore there. This has been a huge question in my mind, is will the metagame adjust into 2 Stargate Corsair as a way to maintain pressure on Zerg? Because if you're not scared of the Scourge after you get 5 or 6 of them really quickly, that means you can put huge pressure onto the Overlords before Zerg really hits you know, a critical mass of anything to stop the Corsairs.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? Like they both have to invest in this anti-air in order to fight this, but then if you can just strong arm them with the Corsairs, you can kill so many Overlords. And it's one of the most painful ways to start losing a game as Zerg is when you start to lose all your Overlords. You get locked out of production, you get locked out of detection. And, you know, a lot of times you need the production to even protect your Overlords that are going to be coming out next. So the game can really snowball pretty fast. We see the Zealots are diving on this hatchery. The drone drill is going to make it pretty tough. I don't know that he actually breaks this. This hatchery is doing an insane amount of work. Meanwhile, Bisu's going to fly in here. Good pull away. Oh, he needs to keep moving, though.
That was a good pullback from Queen. It feels like Queen has a decent idea of how he wants to play against the 2 Stargate Corsair, having that quick Spore. He had a good amount of Scourge, and he turned them around at just the right time. Look at that, just guns the Scourge on so quick. He doesn't even care about the anti-air here. Look at this, man. Like, this is what we were talking about, where it's like he's basically hitting this massive Corsair push before there's a critical mass to stop it. It looks crazy, but, like, we've been seeing stuff like this more often.
There really is. He's the only guy that does this and makes it look easy. I swear, if you try to do this as a Protoss, it's so much harder. Looks like he should be able to angle. He can flick these down, I think. No, he's going to keep running. Probably back at home producing. And, yeah, I mean, he just makes it look so basic. To fly in there, to hit the Overlords. He knows when to push through, when to avoid, when to hold position, too. Like, he knew to just kind of lock them there. In range, because the Scourge would fly in, and then the Corsairs target them down on their own. The Zealots are going to come back in here, and I think this Sunken Colony is at something like 50 HP, so it should be exploded in a second.
And he's killing even more
now,
Overlords. Oh my god.
Yeah, and now the DT comes in. And this is that classic Bisu style. I remember being in the attic of my mom's house with my brother in the middle of the night, watching him do this to Savior a long, long time ago, and it's still happening now. And the problem is, like, okay, the Hydras finally come through and kill the Zealots, but now there's no detection. There's not that many Hydras either. So the Overlords are going to be picked off. I think that other DT is going to be killed, but then Bisu just goes to the next location and looks for the next Overlords.
Well, he has so many Corsairs that it's like, yeah, maybe you kill a Corsair, but he kills 4 Overlords. And it's like, yeah, that seems like a pretty decent trade right now. And he's taking his 3rd base on that high ground. He's like already getting that set up, so he's not going to be, just dying to some random counterattack lurker contained type of situation. The Corsair's still flying around. Bisu's really good at Corsair retention. I would say he's probably the best in that regard. Really does keep those alive, so it's going to be hard to switch into mutas or anything like that. And I think from here, like, Queen is probably just going to have to go lurkers, but I don't think he can get offensive with them. I think he's going to have to play like a defensive type of game where he's got like zoned out lurker defense at his bases.
Yeah, I mean, the Zealots are going to run back. It seems like Queen kind of stabilizes, but you know that Bisu is going to be winding up for a huge attack here. He's getting the Observatory. We saw that he's getting the Dragoon range upgrade because the core was spinning there, and that's right around the time you'd want to be getting it. Bisu got an expansion up before he, I think, even had a finished Robo. Before he even had an Observatory started. And so he's going to be in a really strong spot for a 3-base push.
Well, he is macroing up very, very heavily right now. That is a ton of Zealots coming out into the center, and not so many Hydras, so he does have to be careful about that. Dragoons adding in now as well. That fleet of Scourge not going to find anything to do with themselves, and Bisu getting ready for the 4th base. This is actually what I like most about Bisu's Protoss first Zerg compared to other players. He so aggressively takes 4th bases. I feel like no other Protoss really does that. Like, he'll like, as soon as he moves out, he's like 4th Nexus.
Yeah, he's coming down here. This is funny. He's going to hit the gas. That's kind of weird, but I guess, you do need a lot of gas if you're going to go lurkers, and the gas was kind of just sticking out there. Maybe the first pro game I've casted where a Protoss uses the Zealots to target the Extractor, but why not?
Yeah.
Now comes the big push. And this is where I'm worried for Queen, because Queen has really not gotten on his feet, so to speak, ready for a push. I mean, he definitely stopped some of the pressure, but it feels like there are 3 spots that could be attacked here. 6 could be pushed, the fresh 4th base could be hit, or the natural could be hit. And, lurkers need to be at all of these. And so sometimes the Protoss basically tests the water and sees which one is the most neglected and hits there. Meanwhile, possible big Hydra counterattack, but in the last second, Queen turns around.
Well, this attack is going to absolutely crush this base. The Hydra's having to run away. The attack from Queen is like continuing, but it doesn't look that dangerous, whereas Best's attack looks insane. Oh my god, he made mutas! Why did he make mutas?
Bisu, why would you do that against Bisu's Corsairs? That's so strange. Well, here comes the Storms. I think this game's almost over.
Yeah. It really, like, how,
Yeah,
you're not going to hold any of this. He's going to lose everything, and the mutas aren't going to make the difference. That's for sure.
Very strange to see the mutas
man.
picked here. I mean, I guess he will get some picks on the Templars, but I mean, there's just too much of everything. Queen probably going to tap out right now. We're talking about a 4-base Bisu versus a soon-to-be 2-base Queen.
I feel like this is what my Zerg versus Protoss games look like. GG. Bisu smashes
GG.
Queen. Not even close. Not even close. Queen never got anything done. He did no damage to Bisu. Bisu controlled the game from A to Z, from his initial zealot pressure to his defense to the 2 Stargate Corsair wrecking everything, rotating around, taking his expansions really quickly. Queen was outclassed in this particular game.
I mean, I love Queen. Bisu had a very strong start, but like, what was with the mutas there? That was so odd. I feel like once you see the mass starport like that, I mean, there's just no way. All the Corsairs have to do is be by the Templars, and usually the mutas have died in time for you to have enough Templars to win the fight. You can lose 1 to 2 Templars, but, you know, in a game like that, it's just really, really hard to pull off. Well, anyways, we're going to have True versus Bisu coming up here, and it looks like we have a lot of PVZs tonight, Tastosis.
Indeed we do. I'm happy about it. I think True versus Bisu is Bisu favored. We'll see after this quick commercial break.
For esports pros, awareness is essential. That's why the Black Shark V3 Pro is tuned in to what matters most. A quantum leap in speed for instant audio response. Full range clarity that carries every shot call. Advanced ANC to eliminate all distractions. And crisp, clean sound that captures key audio cues. Made for the best. Made for who you can be.
라이어 게임의 룰을 알려드리겠습니다. 모두에게 같은 제시어가 주어지지만 라이어는 다른 제시어를 받습니다. 돌아가며 제시어에 대한 힌트를 말해야 합니다. 모든 힌트가 끝나면 투표를 통해 라이어를 찾아냅니다. 라이어가 잡히면 심의 승리. 하지만 라이어가 제시어를 마치면 라이어의 승리입니다. 게임을 시작합니다.
Live game.
이번 주제는 선수입니다.
왜 안 해요? 왜 다 눈치 보지? 나 가위바위보 하자. 이거
가위바위보, 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 가위바위보.
오케이. 좋아.
가위바위보.
설명해보세요.
제가 요즘 게임 배우려고 그러는데 진짜 안 알려주는 저거 한 명 있더라고요.
잠깐만. 바로 나왔네.
아니 근데 너무 쉽다.
너무 쉽다.
페이크일 수도 있죠.
일단 게임이 매우 불쾌해요. 이 사람이 게임을.
다른 사람들과 좀 다르게 뭔가를 좀 해요.
게임을 너무 숨겨요.
기사가 뭐 너잖아. 왜 이렇게 뜬금없는 얘기가 나왔는데? 한 번 더 설명해 봐봐요.
그분이 너무 숨겨요.
숨기는 사람들 많이 없지 않아?
그분은 결혼했어?
요즘 결혼 안 한 사람 있나요?
우승 몇 번 했어요?
몰라? 나도.
내가 봤을 때 홍구는 잘 몰라서 내놓고만 했고 약간
페이크일 수도 있죠.
영우도 이상하긴 해.
예?
영우야 너는 이 사람이랑 해봤어? 에이스에서 게임을?
저는 올라온 적이 많이 없어가지고.
너는 기서가 해본 적 있어?
저는 해봤죠.
언제 해봤어?
최근은 기억이 안 나네요.
최근에 기억이 안 나? 나오네 사이즈.
왜 나만 치중하고 있는 거야?
근데 오히려 재욱이 형일 수도 있지 않아?
오히려.
나는 오히려 재욱이 형 냄새 좀 나긴 해.
냄새가 너무 나. 이거 이런 게임 잘해. 포장 이거.
기석이 많이 많아진 거 봐봐. 지금 봐봐. 자기가 지금 마피아니까 자기가 지금 말이 많아진 거야.
기석이 형 왜냐면 내 질문이랑 비슷하게 했어. 안 알려주는 저거 한 명 있더라고.
게임을 너무 숨겨요.
기석아 너 최근에 게임한 적 있어. 아니 너 최근에 게임한 적 있어.
기억이 안 나.
너 이제 잊을 수가 없을 거야.
아닌데.
아니야? 저는 기석이.
저도 기석이. 전 재밌어요. 근데 저는 진짜 아니에요. 저는 그럴 수가 없어요. 저는 다시 한번 고려해 주세요. 저 아닙니다.
아니 저는 아니면 벌칙 받을게요. 예.
예.
조기석 선수는 제시어를 공개해 주세요.
아니 저는 김명훈입니다.
같은 제시어를 받은 선수는 손을 들어주세요.
저요.
봐봐 지금. 봐봐. 나 지금 말했잖아. 너무 느낌이 좀 이상하게. 나였어?
본인이 라이어인 걸 끝까지 모르셨나요?
네. 그러니까 기자 설명 명훈인 거 알았는데 셋 다 김민철인 줄 알았어. 그래서 했다고 생각했구나. 결승전. 진짜 몰랐는데. 나 뭔가 나 그래서 의심했는데.
벌칙하시면 됩니다, 형님.
승리한 라이어는 벌칙을 받을 선수를 정해주세요.
나이어가 이겼으니까
우리 셋이네.
맞네. 내가 이겼네.
맞네.
오랜만에 왔으니까 시구식 해야죠.
좋다.
오랜만에 왔잖아. 오랜만에. 시구식 한번 해야죠.
맞아. 오랜만에 왔는데.
기권할게요. 예.
Welcome back, everybody. It's time to go from best of ones to best of threes. Looks like it's going to be a very Protoss versus Zergy night, Artosis.
Yes.
We might end the evening with a mirror matchup, PvP or ZVZ. We don't know yet. Or it could be a 5th PvZ in a row.
Yeah.
But for now, we know we at least have 2 more PvZs coming.
And that's going to make it a lot of fun. I think that's like the perfect night, basically. But this matchup, True versus Bisu, I don't know, man. It's hard for me to imagine True beating Bisu twice out of 3 times. Like, I can absolutely see him pulling a game. We just saw it against Best. I think he's one of these players that is going to excel in best of ones, and the higher up, like, for instance, if you give True a best of 7 against Bisu, I will put hundreds of dollars on Bisu. You give him a best of 5, I'll put 50s of dollars on him. In a best of 3, Tasteless, tens of dollars. Okay, like
Tens of dollars, Artosis. You're a madman.
I think True is a slightly lower level than everyone else here. It's a fact. So here, I think Bisu's going to be able to advance in first place.
I think Bisu's probably got it. I mean, he looks so strong. He makes it look easy. His PvZ's basically never been weak. It's never struggled. And it hasn't changed that much either. I mean, it's a lot of +1 Corsairs with +1 Zealots. But, you know, True is a very tricky player. So let's see if he's got something deceptive coming up here. Okay, we've got True down here in the bottom right. And Bisu down here in the bottom left. Yeah, to what I was saying earlier, I mean, Bisu's kind of always kept this in-your-face style. He's more willing to throw Zealots into the Zerg to soak up Lings and enforce Lings. You know, will kind of default into +1 air weapons regardless of what's going on. I guess the only exception is if he has to deal with a sudden Hydra bust because, oh my god, it's Nal Ra.
Nice.
Nice. I haven't seen him forever.
Yeah.
He was the first pro gamer I ever met in person
really?
to talk to. Met him at BlizzCon.
He's such a great guy. We used to
yeah.
actually hang out with him a fair amount.
Yeah, we did when we first got out here. I don't know what he's been up to nowadays, but it's cool to see him down here. It's cool to see all the old school players coming down and showing up. Anyways, what was the point I was making? Oh, I guess just Bisu has always had this style. It's never been easy to deal with, and I wouldn't be shocked if we see more of it here.
Yeah, Bisu, he's just so good at the zealot pressure. He sends his zealots better. This is something that I think is really, really, really hard to see in StarCraft. And like, for instance, okay, I mean, I play at least 25-ish hours of StarCraft a week, okay? And I've played like probably many tens of thousands. I could have been a doctor of like 5 different things and a lawyer and an astronaut if I had spent my StarCraft time doing other things. So like, I have spent a ton of time in like being able to understand the difference, for instance, with the way that Bisu moves his zealots to other Protosses. For me, I have a hard time with it, but I watch, and consistently, oh my God, he's going to kill a drone. That's insane. But consistently, we see Bisu do a better job with his zealots. And it's like there is something there that is hard to identify about how he manages them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, he moves them in a way that they have a bit of a moving shot. Like they very much obey his commands.
And
by the way, this is 9 pool speed all in.
Yeah.
This is not an easy hold. This is not an easy hold here for the Protoss. It can be done. You do have to go forge before the Nexus, as you see right here. He's got the cannon being made. Now he's going to put the probes far back enough that they're not so much part of the wall in as they're kind of reinforcing the Zealot in the fight over here. But then what Zerg does is they attack the gateway on the outside. And the idea is if you bust the gateway down, you can just run it anyways. There's more Lings coming. This is looking super scary. I believe the cannon can cover all the way to the top right.
I think so.
I think.
Yeah. This looks like it's going to fail terribly, doesn't it? Oh.
I don't think so, man. Well, he's going to send one Zealot into it, and he probably had to do that. There is a trick right as they kill this where you make another forge or a core. I guess you can't make a core. Make another forge underneath it so they can't flood it.
I don't think his pylon reaches far enough to get that aligned on the right.
No, he does, I think.
He does?
Maybe you're right, actually. That's hard to say. I'm not used to wall-ins where the pylon's like far on one side or the other. So, look, he survives. There's been more Lings made. The game goes on. The Nexus is not started, but it will right now. He just had to save up the 400 minerals. The Zerglings have been sent out all over the map. Now, this doesn't mean that the rush ends. Remember, the Protoss, they have one probe hidden on the map. It's very common when you see 9-pool Speedling to hide one extra probe somewhere and make that your ace up your sleeve where you can scout. So far, it hasn't been found. It just barely got missed by that Zergling. But what True is doing is he's looking for that probe specifically.
Other than a secondary scout for... Wow, I can't believe that's remained hidden. Other than a secondary scout for seeing if this is like a quick layer or a Hydralisk den, is there anything else the probe could do?
You're asking me if there's anything else the Zerg could do?
No, the probe, the hidden probe. Like, is there some insane build that we never see where he like puts 2 gateways somewhere or something like that?
Oh, you mean what Bisu could do?
Yes.
Like as a crazy build versus this?
Yeah.
Well, you're always reacting. Look, you actually can hide a gate. You could hide one gate and go DT. Like, you could do that, sure. And that's actually a great play against 3-hatch Hydra and some cheeses because they just don't have overlords everywhere. But usually you have to defend what Zerg does before you get that opportunity. But hiding a gateway on the map is a great move if you've got an extra probe on the map. You can win many games like that. But this is the moment he has to get in here, and he doesn't see the layer. Doesn't see the spire, but doesn't even see the layer.
It's a Hydralisk then, though. Like, I think this...
Oh, I'm sorry, the dead. I'm crazy. We were talking about this hypothetical, and I decided that it was Hydras. You're right. So he's going to go for a lurker bust. But, yeah, exactly. So he doesn't even see the layer. He doesn't even see the den. Let me update my casting here. So... could be a lurker bust. When you see 4 Hydras, generally that's 4 lurkers. It could be a lurker drop later, too. Although I think a lurker bust would make a lot of sense here. Keep in mind the gateway's pretty low.
Bisu's
and the way these Hydras are going up here.
Aren't Bisu's cannons basically perfectly placed to stop this? Because he's going to have to bust the wall and bust the cannons separately, which is like not what you want to do with this rush.
Correct, Tastosis. No, Bisu... what looks like kind of a random position for cannons to be in is very deliberate. Notice how they're spaced so they're not hugging each other. So it's not like lurkers could double up shots hitting both of them. Whenever you see this done, by the way, that 4th lurker is always made a few seconds late. You never quite have enough. So the Corsair needs to come in here and scout, and now you have seconds to respond. So another cannon comes down. He might want to check for a drop, but he first has to come in here and see if there's anything else. So he's going to move the Dragoon over here. You can see the Dragoon is in his main. He wants to check for any kind of drop overlords. He's going to take out this overlord while he can. He sees the lurkers. He needs to get more cannons down here, and he needs to have them spaced out. The Zealots need to be spaced out as well. You can't let the lurkers all one-shot that because then the Lings spill through. Lings in higher numbers are going to come through here now. He's going to burrow.
And I don't think this is going to break Bisu at all. His Zealots are clogging this up, so the Lings are having a hard time getting in. And now the Lurkers are being picked off. Look at this. A Dragoon has come out, crushed.
That's it.
The game is very close to over right now. We have a secondary attack, not going to work out. Bam. Excellent hold from Bisu. Perfect cannon placement. Just a superb game. Like, really, really crushed what True had planned.
You know, what True did, you'll find a lot of on ladder. That's like a whole... We don't see it as much in ASL.
Yeah.
In pro play, but I'm not too shocked because True always kind of played like this in StarCraft 2. But 9-pool play has so many deadly choices for the Zerg on how they play it out. I think a world-class Protoss like Bisu or Snow or Mini basically don't lose to it. And it's why you don't see it that often. But when you see it coming in a match, it's tough. Any Protoss player worth his salt is going to be able to handle all of those. But, you know, one slip-up, one misread, and you will die to that.
Absolutely. Like, if his cannons were up hugging the gateway, True might have had a chance there to bust everything with the splash damage. Instead, he was just kind of, the cannons were a little bit too far back. He couldn't hit with everything. So an absolutely commanding victory there from Bisu. We're going to go into set 2 on Radeon. Not sure what True is going to have up his sleeve, but yeah, Bisu showing his class here today. I love it, man. I'm so excited for Bisu to potentially be round of 8.
He would be a welcome addition here in this round of 8. Is True going to be sneaky and cheesy this time around here? I mean, he's been kind of like that all day today, and it's looked pretty strong. Or is he going to go into macro play? Let's find out. Okay, in this game too, both players sharing the bottom here. We've got True in the lower left, Bisu in the bottom right. Even the handling of the early game there from Bisu, that's really hard to do. 9-pool Speedling, even if you've dealt with it like 1,000 times, that's tough for the Protoss to hold.
Yeah.
The build order is first of all, you know, it's a little... Whenever you're doing these expand builds, you know that you're in a hurry to get a base up. So you'd have to know exactly what the cutoff is to not die and not overdo that. So the answer is always you get the Forge, because first of all, you need a cannon, but then second of all, you need a wall in. 9-pool Speedlings are just going to overpower one Zealot that's sticking out there. He also took the probes and he put them quite behind the Zealot. You'll see some wall-ins where the probes on one side, the Zealot's on the other, and it's like together. They lock things out. Putting 3 behind the Zealot gives enough extra damage onto the Lings while the Zealot's fighting that it doesn't make sense for the Zerg to commit down the narrow area. But, you know, if a probe is misplaced, the Lings will just run through, and a lot of times, you know, versus a cheesy Zerg, it's... The way that you lose is that they got Lings into your base, even without speed.
Yeah.
And just start to attack probes and run away, and attack probes and run away. And, you know, Protoss, besides the cannon, they don't have any ranged units. You know, they don't have anything that can just gun down the Zerg in a corner. Probes sort of have a ranged attack, but that's not really what I'm talking about, right? You don't have like a Dragoon that can chase them and chip them down over time. So Lings, a lot of times in the main, will just cause you to lose. So again, just commending Bisu here for basically a perfect hold from start of the rush all the way to the finish when True tapped out.
Yeah.
And if anybody's played Protoss before, you've definitely played those games and lost. They are painful.
So painful to lose to stuff like that. The most basic of rush builds are still strong at every level. But, you know, that was probably the most inopportune time for me to talk about what I was trying to talk about last game, so I do want to just revisit it just for a moment here.
Sure, please.
So
yeah.
what I was trying to describe is, this exists in every single matchup in the game. There's, like, different qualities of unit movement. I'm not talking about micro specifically here. I'm talking about the way that you move your units to apply pressure. And it's, like... If you don't play a lot of StarCraft, it can sometimes be really hard to see and to understand. And I was trying to explain that, like, it's hard for me to identify as a Terran player exactly what Bisu's doing. Like, I see it very oftentimes. We saw it in the Barracks versus Sulky game where I was talking about where he was standing the Marines and the way he was moving them to kind of apply that light pressure to keep Sulky out of his base so he could make the Valkyries, right? And Bisu does things like that with his Zealots that I feel like almost no other Protoss is capable of. And like this is like part of the magic of Bisu. It just seems like his Zealots are better, but it's not just micro. It's like the decision making heavily as well.
Yeah, there's definitely an art to moving units in a game this old and getting like really good value out of them. And knowing not just like how to eke out more damage or how to make them move, smoothly, but also knowing what they're incapable of doing and avoiding those situations. Like some units will bug out, others, they struggle like on ramps or it's hard to block entrances with them, unlike other units. And that all comes with time. But, when people complain about StarCraft 1 and controls and how it feels buggy, it does, but actually if you get good at controlling it, it's really smooth. People have the same complaints with Warcraft 3. Like when I played in Grubby's tournament, I was practicing Warcraft 3 for like 3.5 weeks, and it was a lot to take in. And, a lot of people that were watching me stream it were like, man, it's such a clunky game. It's so not smooth. Even StarCraft 1 people were saying that. Dude, after like week 2, the UI felt so smooth.
Yeah.
I could make it do what I wanted. Even though I'm not a good player, I could make it do so much by just being comfortable with the way that things rotated and the way things responded.
Mm-hmm.
Same is true for Brood War.
It might be a good comparison might be like an automatic car versus a stick shift or something, where it's like, well, everyone's used to automatic. But if you know how to drive the stick shift, it is going to be a smoother ride with better, acceleration or whatever. So, it is like that, where it's like, yeah, there's actually just more possible in Brood War than the other games, much more. It's just
also I feel like there's a way for new games to build off this by just like giving you more opportunities to do that. Because people always ask me like, well, so there can never be a new RTS game because the game has to be buggy, and I'm like, no, you turn it upside down. It's just a unit that with more handling you can do more with. That's what makes the game good. People get it like upside down and think the game has to be buggy, and it's like, no, not at all. By the way, these Lings are going to come in here and counter. We should talk about this game for a second because it might not be up for that much longer. This is another. It's not a 9-pool build, but it's close to it in that Zerg went for super fast Spire here and has hidden the tech well with Speedlings. You got to remember, too, that you don't know if it's Hydras or not. You can know there's tech and it's still not clear. Hydra Bus versus Lurkers, drops or no drops versus Mutas, versus just pure mass Ling all in, all require different approaches. And the Zerg always wants to lead. If there's a minimum amount of intel that the Protoss can get, you want to just be showing Lings with speed.
Very
He doesn't know. He doesn't know it's Mutas. He's made
idea.
a third cannon.
He thinks that it's something aggressive up in the front of his face. Now he's going to see that just finished. He's going to fly over here just as everything's about to pop. So he needs to throw down additional cannons. 2-hatch Muta, 2 years ago, we saw this kind of rotate into the meta just briefly, but I don't think we've really seen it in ASL, not more than 1 or 2 times. So very interesting that True has brought this here. And Bisu is not completely prepared. So there is some potential here for damage.
Yeah, this is, once you have cannons up, if you keep the Corsairs alive, it gets a lot easier, but he's got to keep those Corsairs alive. So the first cannon is warping in. There should be cannons being made in the main. It's the correct move is to send the Zealots out, which is exactly what Bisu did. He's just going to move out on the map and see if he can hide these somewhere. Maybe there's a counterattack. He throws down a second Stargate. I love that. He sends the Zealots back, seeing there are no Lings on the outside. And it looks like True will just kill off at least 1 Zealot. The extra Dragoon, by the way, that's also kind of the panacea to solve all the problems that can happen, is 1 Dragoon can at least draw fire while your cannons are making. Even if they attack the cannons and you're running away with the Corsair, at least the Dragoon can attack. And from here, he's just going to double down on Corsairs. He's getting them from 2 bases. It's going to be tough for True, but there's still a little bit of room here for him to pull something off still.
Well, True actually does have 4 hatcheries, so I think he's going to switch it up and go into his Hydralisks at this point, is my best guess.
Yeah.
But you can see the micro here from Bisu looking really good. You can see how he's like suddenly shifting them. Oh, double Hydralisk Den. Dude, True is...
Oh, God.
True is just as cheesy as you can get.
This is so cheesy. So this isn't a mistake. you are actually going for Hydra speed and Hydra range to finish about the same time. And what happens is now, sometimes you want to not make them next to each other like this. I guess he was in a hurry, because when you see, every once in a while, I've like scouted two in two different locations and been like, wait a minute, am I crazy?
Yeah.
But when you see two side by side, that's all you need to know. You have to get ready, because these two upgrades are going to finish right now, and the dive is going to come in here. And the Hydras are going to pick off this cannon. The Corsairs are going to come in, but the Hydras can fight. The Mutas take the cannon out. The Mutas are now just going to try to move away here. And, you know, the Corsairs are still alive, but to fight what? The Mutas killed the cannons off. They did their job. It's just probes. There's nothing here on the ground, Artosis.
Yeah, these Hydras are dealing some serious damage. The Corsairs are flying out onto the map. He's going to try to get some counter damage with those in case he lives through this. But I think True might have done enough here. Like, you're seeing just how aggressive this guy is. Yeah, there is a Templar Archive, so we might actually see DTs pop out like we saw from Best and ultimately end up holding this, especially considering, like, every Overlord's being taken out at the moment.
Yeah, so the DT is going to be out. It's coming over here and hitting these Hydras. Now, the problem is there are so many Hydras that they can kind of ignore the DT. The DT isn't able to kill the Hydras faster than the Hydras can just win this position. So the Hydralists just ignore the DT. Now, I don't know if Overlord's ever going to get over here. I don't see any on the map in a position where they could run in. But Bisu without a base, I mean, that's a huge problem here. So I think what True is doing is pretty genius. He's just going to ignore that, run in here, and probably try to kill off the probes in the Nexus. And from there, it doesn't matter what you do. You can stabilize back at home.
I mean, the Corsairs can kill every Overlord, and he's still going to be okay because there's just no economy for Bisu. There's like 2 units for Bisu. I think we're just going to go to a game 3. There's literally, like, he has 69 minerals. You'd normally say nice, but not in this context. You know, he's got like 1 probe total. You can't do anything.
Yeah, this Nexus is going to go down. And, I mean, True, this is the same guy we casted when he won in Montreal in SC2. He is he's a rip your face off.
Yeah.
Zerg.
Just as cheesy aggressive as you can possibly be. This really is his style. He's a super aggressive Zerg. We've seen that basically every single game tonight. Canceling, like, oh, look at him shake. Did you see that? Oh my God,
I missed it, actually. I was grabbing my water.
Dude.
Did he tremble? Yeah, I get it. Yeah, he's a little wiggly.
Did you see his hand
going on there?
Oh my God, he did it again. So like when he's bringing up his water bottle, his hand is shaking. That's an adrenaline dump. Like he just beat Bisu in a game on TV after beating Best. He's in the round of 16. Like a round of 8 is so legitimate. It's so legitimate to get round of 8. If you're a round of 8 ASL guy, that's insane. Top 8 player in the world at the hardest game. Are you kidding me? That's something else.
A big moment.
This would be
and
like,
times are changing.
Yeah, that's,
you know, we had 2 upsets here. This could be his tournament for sure. Sorry, Artosis, please go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, like, you know, Drew has won some tournaments in StarCraft 2 and stuff, but they were not as high prestige as this. It was kind of like B League because it wasn't Korea-based tournaments back then. So, like, yeah, he's done some good things in StarCraft overall, but a round of 8 in ASL, I would say, is his biggest achievement if he's able to do that here.
All right, we're going to go on to Metropolis here for map number 3. Tied up 1-1. Who is going to advance here? This has been, so far, the round of 16 of upsets. I know we're still early on, but we could have another one here now. This is True versus Bisu. Let's go. Okay, cross spawns here. Drew in the bottom right, Bisu in the top left. I want to talk a little bit more about that game. We were kind of talking about control and how the game works, and we always do that if we think, you know, there's going to be some downtime. We want to keep this cast interesting always for you guys, but that game became crazy explosive. So I was talking about how there's a lot that Protoss has to be prepared for with these quick speedling openings. You know, just like the 9-pull speedling, just like the quick hatch into quick gas and pool speedling. play that we saw in Game 2. There is a fifth option for Zerg, which is to stop everything and make drones and tech, which is what Bisu probably concluded was happening post the Muta play. 2-hatch Muta into forced Stargate, and I think when he saw that, when True saw that, I should say, he had an exact answer to it, which is that a lot of the games in PvZ that we cast, when Protosses go for double Stargate, which by the way, I would not recommend that if you're trying to learn the game. It can be really hard to like navigate. What he did is he went, okay, so how do fast double Stargate players lose games? They lose into Hydras. What is the craziest way to go Hydras post the quick Muta play is to go for 2 Hydra dens, where you basically have like 8 to 10 Hydralisks and just blow up the entrance. Because remember, when Protoss sees the Mutalisks, they have a very specific set of decisions. They have to make sure that their probes are safe back at home. So they got to get 1 to 2 cannons over by their Nexus. They also got to get another one over by the Nexus in their main, because that's another way to lose the game, is that you keep your natural alive, but your main is overpowered. They also have to get a Dragoon, because that's the one thing that kind of saves you if you're about to lose. Is the Dragoon can attack the Scourge to protect the Corsairs. It can attack Mutalisks if it needs to. It can defend places maybe one cannon might not cover. But that means you spent all this money on stuff that is not going to protect your entrance again. So even though the game, from Bisu's perspective, looked like it could have been a Hydra bust, then at the last second he realizes it's going to be this all-in with Mutas. Then he switches into that other play. He comes back, hitting twice as hard, and closes the game out with a Hydra bust. Crazy play there by True.
It was a really, really smart way to all in. I do want to mention some micro I just saw. So Bisu went up, attacked the drone first with the probe, and then I saw him move his probe. I think he drilled it onto the gas for like a fraction of a second, then attacked the drone again, and the drone glitched and he got extra hits. Is that a normal thing? I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that before.
Yeah, you can do stuff like that.
But why doesn't the probe doesn't glitch like if you do that? Or maybe because he's giving it active commands, it's less likely to, or something like that?
I'm not sure. What I know is that, I mean, Protosses spend all their time blocking hatcheries and creep colonies.
And going to the beach.
Because I can't answer it, but I know that I can sort of do that in some games. I've had it where it can kind of glitch the drone.
Oh, okay.
It's also possible that the drone is being controlled differently, because you might be worried that there's going to be a cannon rush behind the minerals there.
Okay.
So you might be trying to spam through something when they just get on top of you.
Interesting. It's I like how you explain it, that like, yeah, I sometimes can do that. There's like a lot of things that you learn to do subconsciously that I'm like, yeah, I can't quite explain what I'm doing here, but I can do it.
I've never watched myself do it, but I know sort of how to click or how to to handle it. And there are ways, and it's possible maybe the drone can do it to the probe too, but you know, the roles are rarely reversed for who's trying to do what. By the way, we already saw this idea from Bisu earlier. This was actually something that happened in ASL. I think it was 4 years ago with Mini. But, you know, these PvZ plays where you just skip Forge and doing it consistently and getting that Stargate out are extremely strong. And so Bisu's going to play this in cross spawns. Keep in mind, if you skip Forge and go for Core first and then the Forge right after that, like, that seems kind of crazy to do versus the likes of True, the guy that's trying to end the game as fast as humanly possible.
Well, you know, I love just kind of the approach here on both sides. You know, I feel like True, he's looking for all of these openings that he might be able to, like, pull the trigger on one of his crazy all-ins. Like, he already has a lot of Zerglings, but I can't imagine him getting anything done with them. Because Bisu, it feels like Bisu's playing a slightly safer game. Like, look at the positioning of these Zealots. He throws down a couple cannons. He's optimized this build very, very well this game. I don't think he's going to get caught off guard. And, well, there's a Hydralisk Den.
So it's 4-hatch Hydra. So he's going to have a lot of drones here. He's not really rushing into anything. I think this build pairs well with the first two builds in a best of 3. So he'll have an answer to a Corsair that comes across the map. But, you know, let's remember back to the very first game we had here today. which was True versus Best. And, True had a strong opening, but True does seem to be, and I don't mean this to downplay True's skill, but he did seem to be much weaker than, let's say a Sulky or a Hero in mid-late game and late game PvZ.
Yeah. Well, one thing to note is there are 3 gateways up for Best right now. I mean, Best for Bisu. I was thinking about Best because Best, his counterplay in the previous Season 3 Hatch Hydra was, obviously block it while scouting, but go into 3 gateway speed zealots and put pressure on. Like we saw a lot of that from Best last season, which is why I thought he maybe chose True as his opponent. And it seems like Bisu is maybe taking something away from that. I feel like previous to Best doing that last season, we didn't see too often specifically 3-gate speed zealot.
It's hard to pull off. Honestly, like there's a couple builds that Best does that I see other pro gamers basically never touch.
Yeah. He definitely plays different.
The problem is if you try to swing the game with your own 3-gate zealot, and I think you have to cut a bunch of probes with it. These are one of these builds that are like, I tried it myself, and they are tricky to do, and I know Best makes them look easy. It seems like you have to figure out what they're doing at a very specific moment in the game. But yeah, I mean, for instance, Bisu, I don't think we're ever going to see him do that. Like Bisu wants to get Zealots and Corsairs out here. This time he's trying to play a little bit more of a passive approach, just probably trying to make sure that he's not going to get blindsided by anything here. Finally getting the Corsair to scout here and seeing, okay, this game's normal. Yeah, I mean, we're going to be casting Best next, so maybe we will see some more stuff like that.
Well,
but yeah.
Well, Bisu
sorry, go ahead, Tastosis.
Bisu is doing the 3-gate speed zealot right now. Like, and I'm feeling like he did.
I thought you meant without a Stargate. I'm sorry, Tastosis.
Oh yeah, no.
There's one that Best does without Stargate, and maybe you just do that if you're going to skip Stargate no matter what. This is fine. This is fine. I guess this is just an answer to the fact that there is no real threats from Mutalisks, so you might as well try to come in here and hit hard with the Hydras. I'm talking about something totally different. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. That's okay. All right, well, a lot of speed zealots coming down now. I believe he has +1 as well. Yeah, he does. So this is actually a pretty scary attack. I think it's like 12-ish zealots. 1 sunken in here, and he is going to be able to plow through that very quickly. The Corsair's doing a good job of cutting up some of these Overlords, and just look at him. He's on top of everything here for True. Oh my God, is he just going to win?
He might. When the Zerg has to turtle in 2 places that are far away with the Hydras, I think strats like this work. Yeah, That's it. He didn't have a good wall in there. He didn't have a way to like actually keep everything out. Like that position, you can't just have like two hatches and a sunk in between, because the number of Zealots will come through there and hit so hard. So that's rough. I mean, Bisu kind of just punches True in his glass jaw and knocks him out, and the game's over.
It actually looked to me like he was trying not to laugh as he hung up his headset there. I think he's like almost surprised. He's like, my God, this guy is so cheesy. Like he's just flipping coins all over the place. And Bisu puts on like a 3-gate pressure there and just plows right through him. So Bisu ends up winning the group. I didn't expect necessarily win, but you can't ever be surprised when Bisu has a big result like this. And look at that MC
reflecting on that. Oh, it's MC? Yeah, he's right there. Reflecting on that game, I would also just say that, like, it's pretty... I think we might have an interview in a second here. I'll talk more about this later. Oh, never mind. We have a replay. So let's not forget that he actually had his Citadel up pretty fast. You get Zealot speed pretty quickly with that. Because you did it before Forge. So I guess coming in here and scouting that and then being like, oh, it's just 4-hatch Hydra into 5-hatch. See this placement? This is not safe.
Yeah. That's not a very good
This
wall.
is not safe versus what you're against. You would need another hatchery next to that one to be safe versus this. There's also no easy way to drone drill here.
That's true.
The third base is really far away. And the drone drill kind of sucks too. Like the sunken colony basically falls before the drones can really get in there and block it.
Yeah, that was a very clean execution from Bisu, who now we will hear from as he advances to the round of 8.
ASL Season20 16강
You're watching Group B of the round of 16 of ASL Season 20 as we have Group B's first place finisher. It's Bisu. Congratulations. Thank you. You are the first player through today, and just like that, you are back in the round of 8 for the first time in a long while since Season 17, and in first place at that. How do you feel? My goal this season was the round of 8. I am glad I managed to do it in first place. To be honest, I thought that if I do well, I might make it in second, otherwise get eliminated. I don't know if it's because that first game against Queen went so well, but I was able to advance with ease. I'm in a good mood. And the first goal of this season you achieved with no trouble. In the first game against Queen, you opted for a 2 Stargate build. What was the reason behind that? For starters, he didn't have a Hydra Den or an Evo chamber. I thought about going for flying units, so I opted for 2 Stargate. It's actually a build I had originally prepared. Given the situation, it was a good build and it ended up working well. The strategy worked great indeed. And in the first game of the winners match, you scouted well, you dealt with it well. What was the first set like overall? That build from BTS is something I could easily lose to if I didn't scout early. I got lucky with my scout and won thanks to that. And an unfortunate loss in the second set followed. What was it like seeing 2 Hydra Dens in your opponent's main? I actually didn't see both. I only saw 1 Den. I was too complacent in thinking I could defend, even though the feeling was kind of off. When the game ended, I realized it was double Den. BTS prepared really well. I was thrown off a bit after that game. Bisu says BTS came really well prepared. The builds he pulled out today were something else too. How would you rate that winners match against BTS overall? All things considered, BTS plays really well in tournaments. I felt he's not an easy opponent. I was a bit scared in this Group B, but it ended well. That's right. In the end, you did claim victory. And there is talk of you being on a different level this season. You said your first goal for this season was to get to the round of 8. What next? Next, I want to make the round of 4 and get seeded. Streaming the qualifiers and through the round of 24, I'm not a big fan of that. I want to take a break. It's been quite a while since I managed to make it into the semi-finals, so I would like to advance. Hearing from you like this makes me very excited to see what happens in the round of 8. And lastly, please address those who helped you prepare and your fans as well. Originally, when people cheered for me, I ended up losing. When I was involved in our university team, today our C9 members showed up, and I'm glad I managed to win. Thank you to these friends. Dinner is on me. Thank you. And for helping me practice, Jaedong, Lava, Kanada, Hero, Motive, Tyson. That's who helped me. I'm glad things ended up working out well. And Terra, thank you for always taking care of our team. Also, I got a message from C. He asked me for a shout out. C, my bro, thanks. I'm very surprised by how well the games are going for me now. I will really prepare for the round of 8 so that I can deliver a good performance for the fans. Thank you. Can't wait. We will for sure cheer for you. And that does it for our interview with Bisu, our first player through to the round of 8. Once more, congratulations. Thank you. Let's now take a look at the events we have prepared for you. We have a prediction event for our online viewers. We will host a raffle amongst those who correctly predict the first and second place finishes of today's group, with 4 ASL Travel Umbrellas and 2 Razer Viper V3 Pro White Mice up for grabs. Please go ahead and participate. And for those attending live, Our commentators will select 5 of the best cheerfuls. You can win a Razer Viper V3 Pro white mouse. Please show your support for the players and you might win a prize. We now have 3 players left and just 1 spot in the round of 8 left up for grabs today. Who will emerge unscathed in this fierce competition? We will take a short break and return with our second place finisher, moving on to the round of 8.
For esports pros, awareness is essential. That's why the Black Shark V3 Pro is tuned in to what matters most. A quantum leap in speed for instant audio response. Full range clarity that carries every shot call. Advanced ANC to eliminate all distractions. And crisp, clean sound that captures key audio cues. Made for the best. Made for who you can be.
Up, must come down. The energy you give it coming back around. Give it everything you got and never settle down. If we had beat before, then it's settled now. Confidence, my prominence, applying my dominance. Standing in my way, better move back. Keep my weight tight like do-rags. Cause people test you like a number 2 pencil, but I ain't come here for no games. If you let them, then they bound to get you, so I keep it hotter than a flame. Look, I don't complain, I simply maintain. Standing tall in the manifest. I'm not ashamed, I mastered the game. I'm gonna fall cause I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. Cause I'm the best. They threw sticks and stones from rotten bones, it's tragic. But that's not the way it's gonna stay. Oh, got no time to breathe, it's up my sleeve like magic. Feels like magic, magic. Oh, they threw sticks and stones from rotten bones, it's tragic. But that's not the way it's gonna stay. Oh, got no time to breathe, it's up my sleeve like magic. You miss all the shots that you don't take. And I'm not one to miss, I'm the one to make. But if you gon' break, go break. Put your pieces back together, come back stronger, this is your fate. I got that magical flow, I'm on the magical road. This is that gotta have it, you could grab it. Magic that is automatic in my soul. Throw your sticks, throw your stones. Blood, sweat, and tears through the years make you grown. Set your pace, set your tone. Play by the rules or you play by your own. Go hard, don't slack, always give your best shot to anyone. I'm the leader of the leaders.
Welcome back, everybody. Time to eliminate one of these players. Excuse me. I just changed chairs, Tastosis, so I might now have shrunk as a human being while we're on camera. Just thinking about this.
Tastosis
I literally
no
just
longer has
texted
his
her
booster seat. Oh my god, this is so funny.
I'm no
man.
longer sitting on my phone book so that I'm the same height as Tastosis. I just texted Dan on the break. I'm like, my back kind of hurts. I'm gonna try changing computer chairs. So, anyways, here we are. It's been some crazy matches for this group so far, but Bisu does prove that there's going to be something from the past that matters here in the present. He does manage to beat True. True is going to be playing in our final match. Now we're going to have another PVZ. It's going to be Best versus Queen.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking, like, who's in charge of ASL Town?
I'm sorry, but I couldn't listen to whatever the tiny homunculus is that was next to me talking.
It's so funny. Anyways, yeah, we have Bisu going out in first place. He looked fantastic here today. True, peeling a game, but kind of in a silly way with that crazy two Hydralisk Den all-in type build. Going into these other matches, though, it's like, okay, Queen versus Best of 3. Now, last season they played round of 8, and Best ended up winning that 3-2. That was a great series, but Best did look a little bit better. I'm wondering, is he going to be able to do that again here?
Well, Best had a weird start. But, generally the early game from Best, outside of like a cannon rush or something, is not that flashy from Best. He tends to just be kind of a powerhouse pushing macro player. He does actually have a couple weird builds he'll do. We kind of mentioned this in the previous Best of 3. We'll see if it's going to happen this time around. But I would assume that these guys, if the games aren't weird and crazy, it's probably going to be some pretty epic, late game PvZ pushing, trying to crush Queen here. Queen trying to tech up into that hive play, or try to close it out by locking in at layer and trying to overpower Best. But this should be a fun one.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. That was one of my favorite series of the whole last season, was Queen versus Best. I thought it was like amazing. We saw like a wide variety of strategies. It was really fun openers and everything, and they were just really well matched. I'm hoping that we kind of get that here again now. Going to be a Best of 3. Excited to see what the maps are going to be. Please give us the island map. No, of course not. All the Protosses ban Litmus. All the Zergs ban Roaring Currents. What can you do, Tasteless?
We'll get him in We'll get him in a round of 8. That's when they're going to come out. I can't blame these guys. There's no reason why they would be like, yeah, you know what, the hell. Let's try it on the weird maps.
Yeah.
Too much at stake over here. So Queen versus Best coming up here. Kind of crazy. One of these guys is about to be knocked out here in the ASL Group B Season 20. Okay, Queen in the bottom right. Best in the top left.
All right.
Let's see what happens, man.
Yeah. Should be a fun match. We've had a lot of cross spawns so far today, and we're going to have that here as well. What do you think actually about how does like cross spawn in a 4-player map change the dynamic of PvZ?
Well, I think there are some challenges for the Protoss in the late game because the Zerg can expand in 2 different directions.
Mm-hmm.
And, I guess in all cross-spawn positions, it's not as easy to be rushed, right? But I do think that Zerg's rushes hit pretty fast as far as Protoss is concerned.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not in cross-spawns a situation where you'd go, well, he won't 3-hatch Hydra bust me because it's cross-spawns. Like, I think that's still fairly strong. But maybe it's a little bit safer to go for the cybernetics core first, and then forge right after that. These are all factors. There are some tricks you can do, like let's say you're both sharing one side of the mat and they do Hydra bust you. There are tricks from the Protoss where if they hold it, they can follow up with like a DT drop into the main, depending on how the bases are configured. Like if your natural points towards their main. There are cool ideas like that. Again, that's hyper positional. But a lot of PvZ from the Protoss's perspective, if you're not doing something like a crazy 2-gate zealot rush or and trying to put pressure on early, you're trying to figure out where they're going to expand next and how to stop it, and eventually how to push, right?
Yeah.
You want to kill the Zerg a lot of times the same way that Terran wants to kill Zerg, is you need to come in here and push and end them before they get out of control.
Yeah. I feel like I've learned a lot about Protoss versus Zerg via my Terran versus Protoss getting better and better, because the 2 matchups are kind of similar. Making sure you don't overmake cannons, basically, one of the most important tenets of PvZ. Because we have like a very similar thing in TVP where it's like, oh, if you build like too many turrets and they just make a Nexus, you're actually really far behind and it's really hard to get anything going. And so, I was kind of like thinking about that in general. And like, we don't know if Queen is going to do one of those rushes, but is there a rule that exists for the cannon amount? Because I feel like there should be something where you're, you know, like.
So
yeah.
So first of all, you always have to get the one. Right. Although we did see Mini like actually not get this like 1 or 2 times, and he got it so late it was blown away. I don't know if the pro wrestlers can pull that off anymore.
Yeah.
But generally, you need to get one, and it has to be positioned in a way so that if you need to get more, that cannon can cover the other ones without being targeted.
Okay.
So, sometimes the first cannon when it's placed. Actually, we might want to hold on a second here. These lings are going to rush in, and they're going to not be blocked. Oh, I'm sorry. He does have the block up there. The two probes and the zealot. So he's okay. So whenever you see the first cannon thrown down, it can look like it's very random because it'll oftentimes look like it's in a weird spot. But you eventually want to get a second one if you're going to move out with the zealots and try to push because you are afraid of ling run-bys. Soma showed us that in plenty of games where Protoss is lost. And then eventually when Hydras are out, a lot of times you'll get up to 4. Because 4 cannons while you're getting Storm is usually enough that you can't die, and you're not going to be counterattacked throughout the entirety of the game. Now, if you're getting Hydra pressured, you just keep getting cannons, and you'll use your Corsair to basically check and confirm are they still making Hydras. And if they're still making Hydras, you're still making cannons. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's it seems like it's probably one of the harder parts of the matchup, just nailing in that defense. I think that's very oftentimes the case. Like when sometimes I watch lower level players and it seems like oftentimes the weakness won't even be with lower level players like the macro or anything like that. But it will be more with like the cleanness of a defense, you know?
Sure. Well, if you spend too much on a defense and it's like, okay, you don't die, but they didn't actually throw too much into you, then you can be hurting. You can be super behind in that sense. Now, we've got the cannon coming down here. Did we get the modern wall in, by the way? Yeah, we did. So I think I've mentioned this previously, but I just love this about StarCraft, and it just shows how everything's still evolving. If you look closely, the forge is one position to the left of where you normally see it. If you've been watching StarCraft forever, you've always seen the forge kind of line up with the pylon in the gateway. Now they tuck it back. And that's because, let's say that they do Hydra pressure you at the start of the game. Well, this way, you're willing to sack the gateway, but you have cannons that sort of hug the sides of the forge, and therefore the Hydras can't run up, bust a cannon, and then stay back and kill the forge off as easily.
Yeah, they kind of have to commit onto additional cannons to be able to get it. And at that point, you're just doing a full bust rather than let's stop +1 and expand or something like that. So right now, Queen adding in that additional macro hatchery, going up to 5 hatches already here. His Speedling's kind of cleaning up the map quite a bit. A Corsair coming across for Bisu while he continues to create his Zealots. And the Citadel coming up.
Yeah, Best is going to be getting the +1 air weapons here, by the way. Very Bisu-esque. And he's just going to start to target these overlords here. He sees a second gas has started here.
And he's getting a second Stargate. Like, this is... Dude, really, this is becoming the meta. It's so interesting. I'm actually really excited in a couple of weeks when on the podcast you're talking to me about how you can't get double Stargate Corsair to work against Zerg, and you don't quite understand how they're pulling it off.
Oh, well, I have good news on that, actually. I have a guide I'm ready to watch on this. I've been saving it. But a lot of people don't know about this, but the rise of IR translated guides from pros.
Yeah.
I will be ready for our next podcast and tell you. Well, I'll probably come in there and be like, I'm having some weird problem the guy didn't explain. Yes.
Yeah, that's always
Soon
the case.
I'll understand the Tastosis. Soon my casting for this build will be good.
Well, right now, the Corsair is sitting back on top of that cannon. The first Scourge comes in. Going to see additional gateways here. You know, you hit the Stargate in the far, far corner here. And so I think it's a little bit hard to see.
This is perfect.
Yeah, see, the Scourge are trying to get that scout off, but unless you can kind of identify, like, oh, wait, that's too many Corsairs. You know, it might be difficult for him to recognize that it's 2 Stargate.
So that's the perfect spot. If you can get your cannon right there and the Stargate right there, they can't see that Stargate unless they sacrifice something. which they usually won't do. So this can be really tough for the Zerg because they tried to scout. Now, he might have been able to count the Corsairs. That's another way to do this. I don't know if he was able to see that. Scourge have terrible vision, guys. The lowest vision in the game outside of something that's burrowed. And so now what you do is he's going to come in here. He's going to scout with the Zealots. He's got the Corsairs moving across the map. And, you know, the Hydras can fight this, but they can't protect this. Now, there's the second cannon. We were talking about the run-by earlier and why you need that, but he might have enough lings. Okay, he doesn't. Huge moment here.
They all run into Best's main base here. The Zealot's going to chase that, but look at this. The Corsairs, oh my god, even though the Zealots got cleaned up reasonably quickly there, still so many Overlords go down. Look at this, 60 of 21 supply right now, and a counterattack coming out from Queen.
This looks like it's Bisu playing right now, Tastosis. This is crazy, man. He's got these Corsairs. He obliterated all those Overlords. Hydras are going to come across the map. Now, remember those cannons? One of them was picked off earlier. The DT is essential, though. He gets that out. And with the cannons finishing, I think that this spot can't be busted.
I believe you're right. And you said it looks like Bisu playing. It did until he lost half of his Corsairs there flying over Hydralisks.
Yeah, right.
The big difference between Bisu and other Protosses in this matchup. But plenty of cannons coming up. You know, he's going to try to get an Overlord across the map, I think. The double DT going to easily force these Hydras back until they have that detection.
Okay, so the DTs are going to run out now. This is a great opportunity. Cannons are finishing. He makes an extra DT here. No Templars out. Never mind, one pops out just now. Storm's going to be a little bit further away. He did show those two DTs, so it's going to be harder to surprise, do a surprise attack at one of these bases down here. He just needs Psystorm to finish. I love the DTs blocking the Hydras over here. This is great. Two DTs can actually fight quite a bit, by the way. Unlike StarCraft 2 DTs where they get seen and they die like to everything. Yeah. So now he wants to run away with this one and just try to hide it wherever the next base might be. And you know what's funny? We were talking about how the Forge will be kept safe. This has been chaotic enough at the entrance. Now the Forge is sticking out like it was a classical wall-in.
I don't know if he'll be able to finish it. You saw that Storm coming out from Best. He does not want to lose his +1 armor upgrade. I think he's going to be able to save it, but we'll see. Like you notice he keeps running out with those. Okay, there you go. He throws the Storm down. Queen really wants it. It's a big deal to stop an upgrade in StarCraft. Like a really big deal.
Well, I think especially in a matchup like this where you're trying to push. Now, did he get it? No, it actually finished. That's huge. Okay. Yeah. I thought he might have canceled it for a second there. So he's got 1-1. We'll see if he makes 2 more Forges or just 1 back at home, but you do have to remake that Forge. You're never done with the upgrades. So he was actually on 2 Forges all along. So that's probably going to be +2 attack, +1 armor. Because it looks like that Forge was done before the other one was killed.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah. And actually, I've seen some people going back into +2 attack before +1 armor. I honestly have no idea why, like what in the meta might be doing that, but I have seen that more often, even though I still see +2 armor more often overall.
+2 armor is if they're going to be relying more on Storms, and so they just need their stuff to not die, including Templars. +1 attack is if you're afraid of them going for Hive, because you still need to kill their Zerglings. But this was actually 2 Forges, right? So he's going to end up with +2 attack, +1 armor, if our understanding of when the timing of the upgrades was correct, just because 1 Forge was killed. So ideally, this would have been a 2-2 push. It's going to be a 2-1 push.
Well, right now, roaming about with these Zealots, his Corsair count is still looking okay here. Going to push back some of these Overlords. And in fact, looks like Queen is trying to target down the Corsairs as opposed to some of these Zealots here. I think he has enough anyways. Did I just see an unmorph on Lurker Eggs there, or are my eyes playing tricks? Yeah, I think we did. Okay, so he does have that Lurker tech. We see that some Lurker Eggs being made now.
Yeah, and so he's going to be trying to get into that. He might be trying to come up here for a contain now, just trying to do a fight where he can strong-arm the Protoss before they can really get out. When you see the Lurkers morphing like this, it's really important for Protoss that you send the Zealots out on the map. Don't let them get hunted down and killed by the Hydras. Generally, you know, with the Zealots with speed, they can kind of run away. They can pick and choose their fights. They're kind of like vultures in that sense. But you want to be ready for them to kind of come in there and kill hatches. Now, Best is going for a 3rd base. This does not feel very safe. I saw like 4 Dragoons and a Templar. Okay, 5 Dragoons and a Templar. Now, I think Zerg could stop that. I don't know if he's going to realize what's happening and do it in time. Okay, great storm there. And the Zealots are going to come back home. Zerg can no longer do a Lurker Contain now.
Best doing a fantastic job staying pretty active on the map. He actually went up to 10 gateways, by the way, before his third base is even finished. So definitely has the production that he needs to keep his army count up. There are about, well, there's 6 hatches in the main 3 bases of Queen, but he is expanding. I think he's throwing on 2 hatches there. So we're really turning into a big macro game at this point.
Yeah, this is looking like it's going to be a pretty epic game. So the Dragoon count's pretty high. There's Templars in the mix. We're seeing the Forge continuing to upgrade. I don't know that Best needs to... You don't really need to do anything until that 3rd upgrade is done for the push. Generally speaking, it might be okay to try to set up outside their base, but you don't have to try to attack or close anything yet. So Queen's moving around, and he's got the Lurker set up where it's going to be turtling on 4 bases. This is pretty tough to push, but we do see Protosses do it. So he's going to be moving out now. And this is one of those moments where the game could be decided. And so I was actually wrong, by the way, earlier. I need to correct that. He must have finished that Forge and started armor right when the last armor upgrade finishes. So he does want to do the same kind of push we were talking about. And he wants armor because he just needs Storm for damage because it's Lurker Hydra. You don't really need +1 attack. It's not that helpful. It's much better to just have sustain on your army and blanket areas with Storms.
Well, right now, he knows about that additional base, of course, chasing these Hydras way back up to the right side of the map. And now going to bring his entire army down to the south a little bit. I wonder if he's going to try to bust the 4th base or look for a weaker area, because that is on high ground, and we can see a lot of Lurkers spread out here.
Okay, the Dragoons are coming down now. And you want to be careful to not have the Zealots overextend here. You basically need the Zealots in case Lings come in, or if you find stray Hydras. But what you want to do is get the Storms, and you just try to get value. Snow had a great guide on this I saw, where he basically just said you can play slow. Just look for new areas, try to storm, regroup, you know, get some Dragoon shots in there if you can. But Tastosis, we have late game mutas.
Yeah, those are
we have
very
a bunch. Late. And, you know, keep in mind, the Corsairs are, like, out on the map looking around, so they're not here to protect the Templars. And, you know, the Corsairs are only good at keeping the Templars alive when they're there with the Templars. So, you know, he's trying to scout. He's trying to see what kind of game this is going to be. And basically, Queen is very, very sneakily made these mutas, and he has not shown them yet. These mutas could kill all those Corsairs. That's not what they're here for. They're here to try to snipe the Templars. And if they can snipe the Templars, all these Hydras and Lurkers are going to run in and try to close in on this position. So he comes in, 1 Templar gone. Oh, man. Actually, 2 shots there from 11 mutas to kill a Templar, really showing you the power of +1 armor, or +2 armor.
Yeah, attacking in with these Hydras now. He picks off another High Templar, but gets stormed by the other 2. The Muta's flying in to try to get these picks as well. Definitely a very odd strategy here from Queen. I can't remember too many games where it was like Lurker Hydra into a group of Mutas this late into the game. And you can kind of see why. Like, yeah, he killed a few High Templars, but the Mutas didn't feel nearly as strong as they do in earlier portions of the game.
Yeah, it was kind of a curveball thrown there. And, you know, the reality is Protoss has such a big army. But when you make that many mutas, you don't have that many Lurkers. Now, this is still a decent amount that's coming up here, but, I mean, imagine you had 11 more Lurkers in this group. The thing is, the Dragoon count's so high, I think the Hydras actually can't quite win this fight. Now, whenever you start to just get Dragoons with Protoss, you need to, like, run away and get back to Zealots and Templars. The Dragoons do a lot of damage, but they need Storm and Zealots in front, or you can't really get that much done. And so Queen is kind of closing in, and he's now able to isolate the space. And 4 cannons feels like a lot, but when there's no Templars up here to defend, that's when the space can fall.
Oh, man, if he loses that base, it's going to be bad news. He is making a 4th base up in that little nook near his main, but hopefully he can save this base as well, because Queen right now has some insane 4-base macro going on. His supply is very high in comparison to Best. When you're at that same supply, of course, Zerg is really, really scary to deal with. And even more Lurkers going to get out of that Mutalisk tech now and just continue forward with Hydra Lurker.
So we really need to have Best actually, like, stabilize here and hold this. And, okay, that was actually a really good storm. I think he doesn't have enough zealots to really split this. Oh, could he get one more storm on the lurkers, maybe? Oh, God. That was definitely, my screen just showed up here, and I stormed the first thing I clicked on.
Yeah.
Definitely been there. You know, I got to say, Best is having some of the greatest defense on this base. This base falling probably would end the game and make it really difficult for him to ever come back, but he just keeps slipping units to cover the cannons. And here we are. And by the way, Queen is not growing behind this. There is not another main. There, 3 o'clock hasn't been taken. Oh, God.
Well, this attack up looks like it's enough to kill this base. There's no more splash damage left. He has a ton of High Templars, as you can see, but they can't get through that Lurker minefield. The Hydra is going to gun down the last units and the cannon. That Nexus is going to fall very, very quickly. Best still technically has another base. So, like, the game, I would say that the game isn't 100% over, but it looks very bad for Best right now.
Yeah, it's looking pretty dire. And, you know, all those probes, remember that, you know, at this phase of the game, pretty much all your probes are at the 2 new bases. So it's not just that you lose that one, it's that you lost half your probes. It's why Protoss, you know, they really can't get overpowered in these positions and expect to be okay. So I do think there's opportunities still for Best to try to fight back, only because Zerg was so focused on breaking that base that they didn't grow themselves. But he has to take fights really, really well. The Lings are going to run up here. What's even at this base? We've barely looked at it. He doesn't even have gas here.
Oof. Only a couple cannons. Those will be cleaned up very quickly by the Zerglings, but does block that as well. Queen, in the meantime, expanding to the bottom left. Defiler Mound on the way. So that's going to be very, very strong as that gets in there. But still a lot of High Templars in here. So the storms coming out are going to be powerful.
Okay, some more storms coming down here. And I think it's over, man.
Yeah.
The Dragoons are just not going to be enough. Queen played a great game and basically shut Best down. Best was trying so hard to just kind of stabilize on those 2 bases, look for a place to push. Kind of funny to see the Mutatech switch. You know, I've never quite counted it out, but it does appear, yeah, Templars with 2 armor. If 11 mutas hit it, they don't one-shot it.
Is that right?
There you go.
I wonder if, because sometimes when you're playing with a muta ball like that, sometimes a muta will be just off as you click and like 1 or 2 won't fire or something as well. So
we should test it.
Because not
every once in a while in real time, I'm casting and I go, oh, well, maybe that's it. I've never actually tried that. But
so High Templars have
I'll
80,
check it this week after the cast.
It has 80 health, right? 40 shields, 40 health, and then 11 mutas deal 99 damage. So even if you have 2 armor, that's, oh boy, we're getting into my math, Tasteless.
But, no, every time I watch Artosis do math, it's always a disaster. He's like, okay, now carry the 0 over here. And then
carry the 0. I'm always carrying zeros.
Yeah, I'm always carrying the 0. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll check it. If I'm wrong, I'll say it in the next cast.
Yeah.
But there were several moments where the mutas all shot and the Templar didn't die. And so that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
Because, you know, basically, if the muta has to do attack twice, that's so much more time to cast Storm.
Totally. That's one of the most important things is anything you can one-shot with mutas can dominate. But, yeah, if it's going to take 2 shots, it's like they're going to take so much damage.
ASL Season20.
Okay, guys. Back into this series. This is game 2. Best versus Queen. Right now, Queen with that 1-0 lead. Is Best going to fall? After so much improvement, let's find out. Best here in the bottom left, Queen in the top left. And, you know, it seems like in that game, there was periods where Best was getting beaten up pretty badly. And it does feel like in all these games, if he can't quite get to where he needs to be, the push is never going to be there. you know, PvZ is very hard just in that, like, there's so many things you got to get through before you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have this weird wall-in set up. You got to scout out a bunch of things, and then, so, you know, it might be something crazy you got to stop. It might be something very boring and normal and passive from the Zerg. And then eventually you're trying to get up to Storm, and almost always after that you're trying to get the Robo out. I mean, there are some games where the Zerg will die before that, but then you got to get that tech. So you're basically trying to get all these building blocks set up, and the Zerg's trying to smash them down before you're ready to go. And then, look, if you get all the building blocks set up, that's actually probably the easier part of the matchup, is just moving out. Protoss units are fairly easy to move if you're tentative to them. Storm, you know, with some practice, you can get pretty good at it, you know, as long as you don't fire it out too fast because you're nervous. You don't shoot it onto 3 Hydras for no reason. But, yeah, the early game is rough. Very, 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 very rough. Just trying to get to where you want to be. So this game, it's going to be best doing the opening he always does, which is Forge Expand.
He really does like that. He's not as much of a zealot guy in that early game. Yeah, to your
really,
point,
Bisu, the guy that's leading that build order front.
Yeah, he's so good at it. Him and Mini are very much specialized in that way, and Best has always liked the Forge Expands a bit more. Actually, what you were talking about all the building blocks, that's one of the craziest things, I think, about StarCraft 1 is, you know, we haven't had a patch forever. The fact that there's, like, all these things that you have to go through defensively as Protoss in this matchup to get into the game, and the game is still balanced. I'm like, what? That doesn't make sense. Like, how could this be? You know what I mean? It's just...
Sure.
It's like,
well, you know
this
what's
seems
funny
so
about
absurd because this wasn't designed. It's just like it was discovered.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, and I've actually been. I'm going to say something controversial, and I'll just see how people react. But you know, when you look at the Blizzard RTS games, they all turn out to actually be really balanced. And there's only like 3 competitive Blizzard RTS games, and all 3, like Warcraft 3, has turned out to be shockingly balanced. There have been patches, okay, but like races could hang. StarCraft 2, even early on, it's like it wasn't like we didn't have, for instance, like there was this period in Tekken, I think it was Tekken 7, where like there was one character that they came out with in DLC, and it was so good that like almost the entire top 16 of a tournament was like that character.
Yeah.
We don't have that in Blizzard RTSs. Like, it's tragic they didn't make more, because it's so far the Blizzard RTS formula has proven that it's made more balance than imbalance. I mean, we all meme about, you know, and complain about stuff in the game, but like the reality is, like, look at Brood War right now and the distribution of the races that we have here. Look at StarCraft 2, even in the first GSL, it was like Zerg didn't seem like they were that strong as Zerg 1. Warcraft 3, you know, and that's 4 races, which makes it even more complex. Actually, so whenever I talk to people about the game now, people kind of say, oh, well, like, it has to be this way or it can never be done again. I go, it's always worked.
Yes.
It always fucking worked. Okay, so, you know, if you're so interested in you know, this game and how beautiful it is and perfect it is, apparently if you can copy the Blizzard RTS formula and recreate that with some, because all these games kind of have some of the same parameters, it works. Isn't that an interesting thought?
It really is. I think it has to do with the, like, infinite skill ceiling of pretty much everything. There's just so much that can be done, because a similar thing exists in, like, Smash Melee, where, like, more and more characters are able to place higher and get into tournament wins even 25 years in or whatever. It's kind of similar. Oh my god, he's putting a pylon in his main base.
Oh my god.
But yeah,
okay.
I really think it does have to do with just, like, you can't play anywhere near a perfect game. And that's why StarCraft 1 doesn't need patches, because you can just keep improving. But yeah, what's with this pylon tasteless?
Okay, so he's going to make a gateway in the guy's base and DT rush him.
That's
and
insane.
I'm going to talk about that more. I'm going to close this idea, because we're having a really good conversation here, and then I'm going to talk about this. It's also that I think when you make a game that is heavy in complexity and how the races or the factions or whatever you want to call them function, then you create enough room for skilled players to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
One of the problems that people make with RTS now is that they are so busy trying to worry about new players which is important. But keep the game complicated for all the autists like us and the people watching that are gonna sit here and obsess about this and try to figure out how to do crazy things. So let me talk about this. This has not happened in forever. The last time I can think of this happening was in StarCraft 2, one with Huck and the other with SOS, which is so why doesn't this happen? First of all, because it's a bad idea in the sense that the Zerg could just send a Ling down here and find this. But what happens is when you have two of the best players in the world, they're so busy trying to optimize everything in the build order in their base and make sure every drone is mining from every mineral and every overlord is perfectly placed and every building's coming out just right, and you're probably mineral boosting from one or two of the drones at the bad patches, that you don't check for this because it's a dumb idea. Because it would be an auto loss.
Yeah.
Because why would, because this was literally the first few weeks of the game online, was you had to learn to just check your base. So what Best does is he just takes a roll of the dice, makes this DT. Queen doesn't even know yet. Queen has just now seen a DT in here. And there's a second one coming, by the way.
Oh, man.
The sequel's going to be even better than the original. It's going to be like Terminator 2. This DT is going to come down here, and there's not even very much to fight because you're preparing for them to come and leave their base. Okay, never mind. This is going to be more of a Terminator 3.
Now look at this.
No, never mind. Terminator 2.
God.
So he's going to come up here with this, a small push up at the up at the front, and there's another DT still in the main. So I don't know how long you can last in this game, but it cannot be that much longer here as Zerg because you're losing so many drones. By the way, DTs are fine in like tiny, tight fights versus stuff like Lings.
Absolutely.
You one-shot a Ling. It's actually no big deal.
Oh, man, he's going to send drones back. Does he not know it's a gate? Does he think this? Okay, he finally scouts it out.
He knows now.
Because the fact that he's sending drones back tells me I think he thinks it's a drop. But it was actually just the gateway to his base. He has to be kicking himself right now.
You basically know every timing. Like, okay, you know what time DT drops can come. You know what time a proxy DT can come. You know what you probably don't know is Queen. If you make a gateway in my main and I don't check for it, how quickly do my drones start to die? He probably literally doesn't know the number for that. He just goes, okay, this has hit me so hard. And of course, when this happens to you in a tournament, you're having one of these like out-of-body panic attack experiences because nothing makes sense for the first minute or so. You're just going, I can't make heads or tails of this.
Totally.
So we are seeing, I think, the twilight of Queen in this game. It doesn't mean he won't try to fight, but like Protoss has basically lost nothing other than a gateway, which is totally worth it for the damage that was dealt here. Best is going to have probably the easiest mid-game push in the history of ASL. And I don't even really see like a tech that Zerg can go for that would let you recover.
No, everything looks impossible at this point. But yeah, we won't see that again for years in ASL, just so everyone's aware of that.
Yeah.
That it will now be years. It's just like moves like that are so uncommon. It's so rare to lose track of the probe and allow something like that to occur. But, we'll probably see it again at some point, but just not for a very long time. So, like, kind of a gem of a game.
He must have just gotten away and then kind of looked around and went, nothing's following me. And he probably memorized the Overlord scouting pattern and thought, well, you know what? Instead of a Stargate, let's just make a Citadel. And let's just make a gateway.
It's a ballsy risk.
It's funny. Let's go back to like the very, very first few weeks of the game. I'm sure many of you guys were playing online. If you're old heads like Tastosis and me, you were playing online and cannons started to materialize inside your main in the corner, right?
Yep.
Everybody had this experience. You went, what?
Yep.
And then you went and checked on it with a worker, and there were 5 cannons there. And the cannons, it's like the blob. They grew, and they got closer and closer to your base. And then you lost the game, and the guy was probably talking shit or spamming in some language you didn't know. You didn't have touch typing skills yet, so you couldn't even talk back quickly because you didn't know where all the letters were on the keyboard because you were just a kid. And, eventually you learned, okay, well, I just have to check my base, all the corners. Then you learn, I just got to wall in because if I wall in, they won't be able to get in. Or you learn, if I see a worker in my base, I have to follow it or at least remember it's there. So yeah, that was like one of the first strategies that people figured out. There's Fog of War. We can build in these blind spots, and if they don't scout for it, I will win the game. I mean, this was one of the first RTSs with Fog of War. I think Warcraft 2 was the first. But so that's what happened. And here we are, it's like 26 or 27 years of StarCraft 1. Two of the greatest players of all time. It just happened again. That's what we saw.
Yeah. No, I was really relating to what you said until you're like, well, you're a kid, so you don't know how to type. I was gonna tell you about how Stork did it to me recently, but anyways, lurker drops going down in the main base and natural.
I thought you were gonna brag to me about your touch typing skills in front of all these people when you were a kid. Artosis. I was like, oh, sick Artosis.
No.
Yeah, the lurker drop is a great play.
Yeah.
He got a lot of probes, but the problem is I don't think you can stop this push.
No. I think that push is basically over there. As long as he keeps that observer alive, he has storms here as well. There's just not very much left. He's not even really utilizing the storms very much. Like, he could hit the drones, but why do it? He's got enough brute strength to break through everything. And, you know, the lurker drop was a great idea. Lurker drop plus kind of turtling with Sunkens. If he could have gotten Best to turn around, I could see him maybe coming back in the game. You know, he got some good probes. He was dealing some damage. But that's going to be it. GG. What a wild game this was from Best.
You can see how upset. You can see how upset Queen is.
Well,
he's like, "Oh my God, he made a gateway in my base.
Yeah,
this is never how you're supposed to lose. This does not happen at even lower ranks online. You know, when you get the basics of StarCraft down. But you know, Best, there's something genius to it. He thought, oh, you're not following my probe anymore. In fact, he probably lost track of it. And you know, most 99.9% of pros, will keep the probe alive and keep it outside the natural, or check the third, and then start to count the lings for the all-in. Not Best.
That was a wild choice, and it can be frustrating. Like you said, you have timings in your head for when these things can hit, so it can really throw you off. That can be one of the best moves because it just hits at such an unexpected time. There was actually like about 8 months ago, a new DT build that popped up on the ladder where the DTs were in your base before you could get mines, even without making a vulture before add-on. And I was like, what? Like, how can this happen, you know, this many years later? But things are still being invented and created. And not that this is a new thing from Best, but to be utilized at this level, you really got to hand it to Best, man. Like, he will use any strategy. He will go dirtiest of dirt, and he'll play the biggest macro games, too.
It's crazy. Like, I think for people that are just very active in playing StarCraft or watching StarCraft, doesn't matter which one you come from, you kind of learn to just discard that as a strategy, right? I mean, you will always find your cap rank-wise if you're trying that all the time, right?
Yeah.
Just like if you always try to make like gateways in the center of the map, or you always 4-pull, or you always make 2 barracks in the center map, or whatever cheesy stuff. There's a reason why it can't be recycled over and over, but it doesn't mean that you can't try it every once in a while in these situations. And here you go. I mean, Queen might be eliminated based off of breaking one of the most fundamental rules. So fundamental, we don't even talk about it. Maybe you teach it to your friend the first time they play the game. Is okay, you got to watch for that, because otherwise this guy's going to cheese you out. And you got to get out of this rank, because, you know, once you've learned to stop that, you're going to, you know, dart past all these other people that are still trying to do this. You know, you're going to be playing with nuclear weapons. They're banging sticks together, you know. But that's what happened. Stick banging strategy worked for Best this time. And now it's tied up 1-1. Remember, the loser is going to be knocked out of Group B. Let's see what happens. All right. Queen here in the top left. Best in the center right.
All right, Dominator. Oh, he had a very bad clone there. One of the probes went through the mineral patch, and you could see the disappointment in his face. The early game builds are so mapped out to the mineral, to the second. And, you know, occasionally this happens to everyone where you screw up your split on the minerals and something goes on top of something else and it glitches and it walks around on top of the mineral patch for what feels like 5 or 6 minutes, pops out behind, and suddenly you're down like 16 minerals or so and the whole build order can fall apart.
It's so important that the first couple of workers get lined up to those patches so quickly, because everything is built off the first few actions in the game. You have to get those minerals returned, because then you make the next probe and get him out and make him mine right away, and then you got to go make the next probe, and then it doesn't end there. Then it's about the pylons and the gateways and the upgrades and the third base and the fourth base after that. And it's all kind of anchored in having a healthy start. Now, I don't necessarily think it's going to have it's not going to be the end of the world here for Best. These things do happen, but kind of a rough sign there. So Best is going to scout, and he just checks basically the minerals to see if there's creep around him, and there's not. And he's going to go with the forge placement. He is not going to deviate from this. You can cannon rush on this map. I'm only bringing this up because Best does it so much, but I think it's a little bit weaker because you can only fit one cannon in the hiding spot. But I guess we're going to find out if it's worth it or not, because he's sending the probe up here now.
Is there a world in which he maybe altered and he said, okay, we'll just fall into a cannon opener because of the screwed up mining, where no longer can he maybe hit the zealot time?
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. By the way, it looked like he did try to go behind the mineral and put the cannon there, but it was blocked by the drone. That's a good question, Tastosis. Someone would know the answer to that, and I'm not so sure. Here's the problem: is that within that question you asked, we would have to know. We'd have to point out what Queen has knowledge of, right? And he doesn't know that Best missed anything. Yeah. And you kind of make the decision based off what the in-game clock says and how your opponent would play if they're playing optimally.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like if I know a drop's going to hit at 6 minutes and 20 seconds or something, I'm not going to try to drop because he messed up his opening. He wouldn't be ready for my drop. I don't know. I'm kind of falling apart trying to give an example here, but yeah, I mean, basically, if Queen doesn't know, he's probably not going to risk it, right? Yeah. If he were to try to attack in with Lings and they would have killed the cannon in time, there's a 99% of other games he would have just lost the Lings to the cannon because Best doesn't mess up his opening. Totally. Like almost every pro does not mess up their opening with the cloning or the splitting or whatever term you want to use for setting your workers to each individual mineral patch.
Yeah. I think it's all splitting nowadays. I think I was the last cloning holdout until recently. And that's just like the way you send your workers. So like drag select them, click on them patches, and then just click on each probe and tell it what patch to go to. That would be splitting, whereas cloning is shift deselecting the wireframe on the command card.
Can I tell you something? I didn't know there was a difference, actually. I thought it was the same thing. And I thought people just cloned from the workers or cloned from the tray at the bottom of the screen. I actually thought they meant the same thing.
Oh, yeah, no, cloning is specifically deselecting on the little bottom tray thing, and so like cloning is still used sometimes for like Scourge, for Yamatos, for Irradiates. I don't know if it's used at all for Protoss, but yeah, it still has some usage. But for workers, it's quicker to split without question.
So in this game, we're going to have, I think, the Stargate come down here. Let's take a look. He's getting weapons, actually, by the way, before he got the any other tech. So it's a very quick weapons upgrade. Oh, I really want to see the Protoss's base now and see what he's making up here. So it was attack before Stargate.
Okay.
So that's a little bit different. We'll see if that means anything or not.
What would that mean, would you think?
Well, I mean, I've seen Snow do some builds where he has, like, the smallest number of zealots. Oh, my God. Hold on, Artosis.
Ooh, that's scary. That's some scary stuff right there.
I was going to say that you can get super fast +1 zealots, and just it can kind of startle the Zerg because the Lings die so fast. He actually counterattacked with a zealot. That was crazy. you know, there just wasn't quite enough to defend. So we were talking about this. I can't remember which series it is. We've done just nothing but PvZ today. But, like, the worst thing that can happen to Protoss, it could be a low-level match, it could be a pro match, is that they get Lings in your base because it's just so hard to actually catch the Lings and kill them before you have, you know, at worst lost probes to the Zerglings. At best, just had your mining time interrupted.
Oh my God. This Zealot actually doing some heavy lifting. My God, what is going on here? Killing multiple drones. Really good micro there, obviously, from Best, but Queen may be a little bit slow in the reaction.
Look at the placement of the Templar Archives. That's such a funny spot to put that.
Where'd he put it? Oh, yeah, look at that.
Put it down there. I've never seen that made there ever.
That's a funny one, yeah.
So that you bait the Hydras to run in there and try to stop the Storm upgrade and the cannons kill him. That's crazy. No, but seriously, I guess he just, you know, he had to make it somewhere. He probably couldn't get it made while the Lings are running around in his base.
Yeah, the shape actually of the bases on Dominator are terrible. Some of the, it's like Metropolis and Dominator are really hard to place your buildings correctly because everything is so thin.
Yeah, it's one of these situations where ideally, at least for me and I think for a lot of people, you want to have your buildings laid out in a really organized way where it's easy to click through them and make stuff. And I always find that everything looks so crappy and disorganized on this map and Metropolis. So he actually got a DT out, and I don't know if this is going to be spotted. You know, it's funny. Queen's third base, I think, has an Overlord not quite over it. So, I mean, you know, there's moments when you have explosive games like Lings run into your main and you're sending Zealots across the map. Sometimes this creates an opportunity just like this, where the DT can just run in here and, like, there's no Lings to defend. All the positions were basically reset. And he wants to kill as many drones as possible without suiciding this.
Well, he's buying some time. He sees that the mutas come out, so the DT, you know, kills a drone, forces lost mining time, keeps the mutas back, and gives him time for reaction. You know, not terrible. It's not a waste, I would say. And, you know, with +1 already done, going Archon Zealot here, he might be able to put on some counter pressure.
This is wild.
Yeah, I think he might go double Archon with Speed Zealots with +1 attack and, like, just kind of move across the map, and the mutas will have a hard time against that.
Yeah, well, he'll have to rely on turtling here, and you want to make sure the Sunken Colony attacks the Archon, because the Archon's what makes it impossible for the Mutalisks to really fight the army. So double Archon, soon to be Speed Zealot, moving out on the map. Although, you know, I mean, let's see what he can get done with this. I do find Turtle Zergs can be pretty strong at holding this. He's going to get a second Sunken Colony over here. This base is also going to get a second Sunken Colony, and man, is that one going to be hard to hit. The Lings scout and see it's empty, so he knows that Protoss is moving out on the map. And Queen actually got the armor upgrade.
Oh, so he actually was thinking it might be 2 Stargate Corsair once again, I think. By the way, the Sunkens generally you want to target those Archons if you can with them. Now, the Zealots actually kill the first Sunken relatively quickly. The mutas staying on top of these Zealots, the Archons cannot path back there. They have to go all the way around the bottom if they are to get in there. And then the AI for them is going to be even more screwed up. So really good placement here from Queen is kind of saving his life.
Ooh, nice shot on the mutas. Yeah, the Archons are too fat to squeeze back, as Tastosis said. It's funny because they're actually great units to control. They're very responsive. And they actually can, you know, kind of try to plow into the Mutalisks if you're not careful. But the mutas technically have 1 longer range. Oh my god. So many Scourge here.
Yeah, it's something like 3
you
range.
You can see the observer even checking. It's like, are there any Corsairs in this game?
I think the answer is a hard no there. Look at this funny. What is this 6 Dragoons, this 6 Dragoon timing attack? Can you tell me about that build order, Tasteless? What am I looking at?
Sometimes if you see them really turtled up, you can try to push with Dragoons, but this, there's no like 6 Dragoon timing to answer your question. There's you know, if you see them turtled, you can run up with Dragoons and try to kill off the hatcheries on the outside, and that's great if they're going to go for Hive, which they sometimes do if they're going for Mass Muta, because Mass Muta is like a pretty handy turtley style of play. And, you know, he might still be able to do something like this. You know, if the count is low enough on the Hydras and the Mutas can be fought, I think it could be okay. The problem is that there's no answer for the Mutas. So even if the Zealots can beat back the Hydralisks, it doesn't matter.
Luckily, he has 3 cannons in here, so that should hold those Mutas back. They are pretty bruised. His anti-air is pretty weak. He lost, I believe, all of the rest of his Corsairs now. All those Dragoons died. He does have a few High Templars that are sitting out here, so we have to assume that Storm is either done or almost done at this point.
Right.
But it feels like Queen has parried everything Best is doing really, really well, and that's reflected in the supply. 111 to 95 at this point in the game. Not looking particularly good for our Protoss player.
Yeah. I'm scared now for Best. I thought we would get our, you know, yet another PVZ here, but if we're going to get that, we need Best to win. But right now, it just feels like Queen is really past the point of this game being an issue. I think that I think Best kind of fumbled the ball with that Archon Zealot attack. I think it would have been much better to get the Archons back home and kind of rebuild, especially because the Archons counter the Mutas, and when the Mutas slayed the Archons in the middle there, now it's just a tough game. Now, we've got +1 armor. We don't have +2 yet. We do have, it is 11 Mutas again, right? I guess let's watch and see if it 2 shots or 1 shot's a Templar in this. Because the idea is going to be that the Mutas can basically just kill Templars before they can actually do their job, and the Templars' job is to storm the Hydralisks and soften them up so that the Dragoons and the Zealots can come through and close the game out. So the Mutalisks are not here, so this storm is going to be huge. Pretty good splitting, actually, from Queen, but he's about to run out of surface area. And here's where the Dragoons actually can just perch outside the Zerg's base and just start to kill hatcheries and upgrades. And this is the danger of the Turtle Zerg, is eventually it comes full circle and you get punished for it because all the stuff that was keeping you safe is now sticking out on the outside. Just like the Forge was sticking out on the outside for the Protoss, right? And so that can be punished. Here we go. Now the Den and the hatchery can be hit, and you can just sit here on hold position.
Now, the Mutas are actually putting some good damage onto these Zealots as they come up. They actually run through all that damage. That's an insanely good Psy Storm right there. Starts an Archon of his own as well, but a lot of Lings coming up, which pair very well against these Dragoons, especially with a few Hydras and Mutas left over. Uh-oh, is Best going to end up losing this whole army, or is that Archon finishing going to help?
The Archon's doing a lot of damage. We have reinforcements coming up here. I think Queen is you know, it's always tough to tell when it's like a certain number of Dragoons because Dragoons can kind of tank a decent amount. Let's see the reinforcements coming here. The one big thing I don't see is Templars. And I don't see anything coming up on the minimap either. He's morphing Lurkers. The Den can be picked off.
Oh my God.
I mean, this is, we're not out of this yet. This could be the tipping point. There's, oh my God, dude, he just started the Robo. Oh my God. He might be able to target these down with Dragoons.
This is crazy. He's actually killed 2 morphing Lurker eggs. And I think he's going to get more. What am I looking at here? Dude, oh my God. Oh, just barely doesn't get those 2 Lurkers. So those 2 Lurkers might be the backbone of defense that Queen needs, but he's taking a ton of damage.
Templars. 2 Templars.
Oh my God.
Versus 2 damaged Lurkers means this position is going to be cracked wide open, and Archon's going to morph. Keep in mind. Oh, dude.
Crazy.
Oh my God, it just ended. What a game.
Crazy.
Oh. That was insane. We are going to have another PVZ. I'll tell you what, man. I will stick with what I said a few minutes ago. It looked really bad for Best. I did not think he was going to pull through there. That was some of the best micro decision-making.
Yeah.
By the way, most other people, they just, you know, 4 Lurkers finish and you lose. He knew that with that number of Dragoons, and I guess it was 6 or 7, you can target down 2 Lurker eggs. I didn't actually know that.
No.
This is just kind of, I'm like, what is it, the guy on Sesame Street, the Count? I'm the Count over here. I'm like, with 6 Dragoons, you can kill 2 Lurker eggs before they hatch. And he almost killed 3. And, you know, from there, even if, you know, he just had 1 Archon, if you've damaged a lurker, you can put a zealot on top of the burrowed lurker and then attack your own zealot, and the splash damage will kill the lurker underground.
Yeah. That was a wild last fight. The fact that it was just like rallies coming up over and over where it really looked like it was going to go one way or the other and then switched back and forth. Just absolutely an awesome game. You can see that +1 armor right on the brink of finishing through this.
So the Mutas, I guess he realized there was no energy on the Templars just there. Our observer's showing us, yeah, I mean, Protoss was running very low. There was no Robo, guys. Literally no Robo. In fact, he didn't think Lurker Tech was coming. He thought it was just going to be pure Hydra Muta. So he storms again here. These Mutas come up. And this was really the important moment. Okay, so he gets another storm off there. He makes the Archon. Now, this does not look good for Protoss, but I guess these Zealots that are down here drew just enough fire away.
Yeah.
And then the Archon finishes, and watch this. He runs right up and starts to hit the Mutas. And, you know, that shot, that damage is shared. There's just enough Zealots here to keep just enough Dragoons alive that you can stop 4 Lurkers. So here's where probably the Lurker upgrade finished, and he ran back. He's made a Lurker wall. Now look at the eggs. He runs up. Does he target the weak one or not?
Yeah, he targeted the weak egg,
wow.
And then he targets one next to it. And that also allows the Zealots to get more on top of this Hydralisk Den. Picks off the second one there. Goes after a third.
This is going to be his new name now. It's Weak Egg. Remember Storm Egg?
Yeah,
this is Weak Egg.
There's Wall Egg, there's Storm Egg, and now we've got
Egg, and there's
Weak Egg. He's the enemy of Egg Clan.
Yes. This is insane. So then he damaged just those Lurkers enough to where 2 Storms breaks this open. We don't know if there was actually a den remade, but it really didn't matter because the Zealots can get into the main. They can kill the workers there.
I feel like
great stuff.
I feel like if you took that replay, that position, and replayed it 10 times, it would look different 10 times. Like,
oh, yeah.
That was such a wild battle. It really felt like it could go either way. Well, we are going to go to a quick commercial break, guys. When we come back, the final match, Best versus True.
For esports pros, awareness is essential. That's why the Black Shark V3 Pro is tuned in to what matters most. A quantum leap in speed for instant audio response. Full range clarity that carries every shot call. Advanced ANC to eliminate all distractions. And crisp, clean sound that captures key audio cues. Made for the best. Made for who you can be.
I love the challenge, I don't care for balance, I'm all in whatever I do. 150, they can't keep up with me, no talking, I show and improve. Whole nother level, I never can settle, so why would I stop, I just move. Let's take it all the way, we work for this every day. I don't play games, boy, look me in the face. Coming for the throne, take the king's place. Pedal to the floor, no L's in the race. If you win front, I excel in the chase. Set pace on them, no they never like me. That's their problem, but they have to respect when we coming from the bottom. What I wanna be ain't coming now, we got the roof down in the foreign. I'm running straight to the bag. I'm flying no witness flag. You could've called this a brag. Blood, sweat, and tears ain't no cap. I'm running straight to the bag. I'm flying no witness flag. You could've called this a brag. Blood, sweat, and tears ain't no cap. I love the challenge, I don't care for balance, I'm all in whatever I do. 150, they can't keep up with me, no talking, I show and improve. On another level, I never can settle, so why would I stop, I just move. Let's take it all the way, we work for this every day. I've been on job, doing my thing. Right outside, but I ain't on the wing. Circle tight like a bad wedding ring. No back and forth, now this ain't no swing. In my own lane, just swerving. Them man, them my actors, plot stirring. This stage, I'm still learning. Call the shots, they can never close my curtain. Challenge, I don't care for balance, I'm all in whatever I do. 150, they can't keep up with me, no talking, I show and improve. On another level, I never can settle, so why would I stop, I just move. Let's take it all the way, we work for this every day.
We are back, everybody. It's finally time for this final best of three, another PVZ. Are we going to get best to move on, or will True, also going by the ID BTS, be advancing, making a continuously more unusual round of 8?
that would be insane. I'm kind of down for best to continue the run. Honestly, I would love to have the Bisu best combo up there. You know, we already have Barracks and oh my god, my brain is completely not giving me the other guy that qualified yesterday for some reason. But anyways, it's getting a couple Protoss up, because so few Protoss actually ended up qualifying this season, would be very nice.
Yeah, well, we need some Protosses here. This is going to be the big moment. We've got True sitting here in what was, he almost got out. He almost kind of stole the show. Now he's going to have to go up here against Best. Now, he did beat Best earlier. This is a rematch from the start of the evening.
Effort. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Effort made it through. I was like, why can't I remember this right now? I did it yesterday. Like, what were you saying, Tastosis?
Right,
I have no idea.
Oh my gosh, Artos is going to pass his dimension test. They're going to see if we can get into this final game. No, I've done that too. I've literally forgotten who's advanced in like the day that I'm casted. It's like, how does this happen to me? I can watch a tournament and I don't have this problem, but when I'm talking, suddenly like I'm using some amount of my battery. I don't know.
Yeah.
Guys, final plug of the day here. Consider signing up for the Patreon. We need your support. Patreon.com/ASL English. We love you guys. We love StarCraft. It's going to be up to the community, to keep this going in Korea, overseas. So consider supporting us. And that's it. Back to this game.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. So, True versus Best. I imagine that True is going to be playing super, super aggressively. So I think Best just needs to take that into consideration. Just keep it in his mind that it's likely going to be like a Hydra bust. I mean, it doesn't matter if you scout the layer. If your probe leaves before that layer finishes, there's a high chance that he's going to Hydra bust you. That's just the way True always plays.
Well, he's very good at it. You know, it's funny because a general rule we say is that, like, if you know someone's cheesy, then their cheese isn't going to work that well, right? But I do think there's something about Zerg versus Protoss where, like, you can know they're cheesy, and it's still pretty hard to tell what's coming. You know? I think just because of the sheer range. I think it's also true in Protoss versus Terran, where there's, like, enough weird stuff Protoss can do where it's like, well, if I can do a lot of different things, you still will have a hard time dealing with this, right? I could go DTs or go for 2-base carrier or go for proxy reaver, or, all sorts of stuff. And it's a lot to be prepared for.
Yeah. Well, right now he does get that scout down very quickly and sees that it's an overpool. So I think he throws the forge down and will continue forward with this build into a Nexus. True. He's obviously got to get another hatch down. I want to see when he takes this gas and what the plan is for this game. Because, like, how many different cheeses can he bring? How many different rushes can he bring to a particular day of ASL?
Usually, and maybe the only exception to this rule I'm about to say is, what bag of builds? Why am I forgetting? Shine. I'm calling bag of builds in my head. Is if you're a cheesy player and you're in a day like today where there's a high chance it's all one matchup, and by the way, that's what happened, right? It's all PVZs. You do tend to see players who are cheesy start to run out of their best cheeses. Like, they definitely know that some cheeses work more so than others. So that's what I'm interested in seeing here with True, is if he does still go for, like, high volatility play, crazy tech switches, Ling speed very quickly into denying scouting, into, like, okay, where does it go from here? It can be a bit of a guessing game for the Protoss. Does he still have super potent strategies, or is it going to be stuff that's easier for Best to identify and stop?
Now, I'm sure you can name 7 Protoss versus Zerg cheeses, because that's maybe how many games True has to play. But you can't name 7.
Protoss. Yeah,
Zerg versus Protoss rushes. But you probably can't name 7 that you would trust on an ASL match against Best. Like, we've already gambled like a lot of times here. I wonder if maybe just kind of opening up kind of normal. Like, open up with your Hydras or your Mutas and play a bigger macro and get your 6 hatcheries down. Is he going to feel comfortable enough doing that? Because I've definitely seen him do that. Like, he tends towards aggression, but, games come along where he's going to play a macro game, and we've seen that from other very aggressive players like Shine as well. Shine can sit there and play a macro game. Is True going to be able to do that on the ASL level as well, though?
I think he can. We haven't seen him do it as much. I mean, he's definitely approached the game a very specific and frankly pretty fun way. Okay, he's going back to the classics. He's going with a Hydra bust, Tastosis.
All right, well.
He said, what's your favorite movie? He says, it's The Godfather. I go, okay, not the most interesting. It's a great movie, but, I've seen it before. He's going to go with, one of the finest, best cheeses that there is. and it's one we've seen every great Zerg do, and there's nothing wrong with it. It does allow you to recover quicker than any other rush. Now, these are not speedlings, by the way. Doesn't mean that you don't think a Hydra bust is coming, but you know the speedlings kind of allow you to ensure that you don't get scouted. Usually this gets identified when the Zealot comes out, because by then there's too many things to juggle for the Zerg. So he's going to scout this. This is like...
wow. That's a great scout, man. Oh, wait a second. He hasn't technically seen it.
Tastosis.
Okay,
Dude,
but it's a layer
guys.
still. It's a layer still. You have, like, right?
It's a hatchery still. It's not a layer.
I mean, not a layer. It's not a layer still. It's whatever. It's all the same, man. It's
so funny.
the building
it's
that they
like
mine
so
from
early
Tasteless.
for
It's
you
a
to
hive.
record this, and it's
Oh
so
my
late
God.
for me. And every once in a while, it shows. It's so funny.
Oh my God. The truth of the matter is, this is Protoss versus Zerg Tasteless. I'm like, I don't even know what the buildings are. It's like, well, it's the same when you play against them. I'm like, oh, it is? That's crazy.
Tastosis, would your factory add-on be done right now if this wasn't this matchup?
Like, well, of course, Tasteless. Like, that is obviously.
Of course.
Yeah. But I would be like, why do you have cannons at your front like that? That's stupid, huh? But
so he really didn't see the den. I mean, that's crazy.
He did not see the den. But he skipped
I don't
getting
know
a Corsair. He has a Citadel. Like, he has a decent idea that True is not going to go to Mutus.
Well, there are builds now where you skip Citadel and just try to do something a little bit different. They're, I think, much harder to play off. But he sends his Zealots out and he gets to confirm. So now he throws down the next two cannons. You always get a second cannon if you're just not sure, if you're not feeling safe, because with one cannon you will just die. But it's done. So is Zealot speed.
That's so funny, Tasteless, because like we're doing, especially me, but we're doing such a bad job that you said, well, there are builds where you skip Citadel, and I'm like, you know what? Like, you could take our commentary and then you put it in Google Translate and you translate it to like Mandarin Chinese, and then you translate that to Arabic, and then you translate that to Russian, and then you translate it back to English, and that's basically going to give you a better commentary than what we're giving here today.
You could upload this transcript to an AI and be like, are these professional StarCraft commentators? And the AI would analyze it and go, no, because they're calling the buildings incorrectly and they're saying things that couldn't have happened yet. But one day, guys, there will be an AI that comes out that's going to be so good at imitating Tastosis and me that it's wrong about 25% of the time, just like we are. So don't worry, it's going to replace us too.
I was going to say, if the AI is really good, it'd be like, yeah, that sounds like Tastosis. They're kind of dumb. They're not my favorite commentators. Like, thanks, AI. Jeez. Okay, there's a ton of cannons up right now, and these Zealots are getting kind of railed as they try to run home. The speed Zerglings catching them quite a bit. True moving up with a ton of Hydras. He has a very high supply right now.
Okay, there's a ton of cannons. This is one of those maps, by the way, where you don't quite have enough cannons. Like, they can actually bust you down where, like, you're still throwing cannons down here, like, around your gas and stuff. Now, Storm is not done yet. The Templars are here waiting. We're seconds out, I imagine. But, I mean, there's two cannons left. He's going to try to shove in. He does have Hydras to take out that last cannon. Again, the Storm still not here. It is so close. He gets a Storm. It's like on a Templar. That's what happens sometimes when you just got to get whatever you got out. Probes are fighting. One cannon warping and an Archon at half health. There's a DT in here. What?
Yeah, unable to do anything, though. And look at this Overlord just chilling over the morphing cannons and everything. More Hydras being rallied down. It's like that Overlord is now being punished for what it was doing before. Dude, can he still
if he
hold
targets
this?
that with a cannon, yeah, he can actually get a DT out now.
Oh, that's true. You need detection to see Dark Templars in this matchup as well. That's crazy.
It's you, me, and Queen who's tired right now, but Beth's still powering through this long broadcast by killing the Overlord that was left under cannons. But hold on a second, there's no DT left.
Uh-oh.
Or coming out of the gateways.
Ooh.
Oh, GG. Whoa.
Dude.
Wow.
True is one map. For the second time tonight, one map from the round of 8. That's wild, man. You see that adrenaline? Holy crap. His hand isn't shaking as badly as it was against Bisu, but that's a heavy shake.
Oh, I mean, I get it. You're like, you have no idea the exact second the Storm is going to come out. You have to be on the edge of your seat, ready to micro this and move those Hydras out of the way from the Storm. you kill the last, few Templars, and then in that moment, Best is targeting your Overlord that was left over there, and then True ends up losing that, but does end up getting the kill before the DT comes out, who I think we called Queen there. I think that actually might be a world record for Tastosis on literally just saying people's names, units, and buildings wrong in that game. That's the first time for everything.
Wait, yeah, no, it's a normal Tastosis cast is what I would say. This number of mistakes is pretty normal. We just normally don't catch the mistakes. Actually, we're more on top of it today than normal Tastosis.
Yeah, it's actually, yeah. We'll go back to this game getting everything wrong and not noticing you guys and go, finally, what I'm here for. Guys, this is game 2. Right now, True up in the lead here against, of all people, Best. One of the greatest PvZers of all time. His 3-hatch Hydra bust worked. What will he try here on the map Radion? And that one Best fan. Not all audience cheers are made equally.
Yeah, oh my God. Well, maybe that'll give him the power he needs, Tasteless, to stop 3-hatch Hydra.
Yeah. Maybe that'll give him the power to make that DT after he kills that Overlord. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. Man.
So exciting to see, just like what happened with TY, where he came back and he was like really good. A lot of people, by the way, were surprised by this that are just hardcore StarCraft 1 fans. I think there was a sort of belief that, when Rain and Sulky came back from StarCraft 2 and dominated, that was like some kind of a fluke, or that they were like, in air quotes, truly to StarCraft 1 players. But then TY came back and beat Jaedong, and here we have True beating these people. I mean, a lot of these StarCraft 2 guys are really solid Brood War players.
Yeah, and almost every single one of them was a pro gamer or at least a practice partner in StarCraft 1. There's almost no one that wasn't. So
for a second, it sounded like you said war instead of war. Like,
war.
And all of these StarCraft pro gamers wore socks once in their life, and I'm like, oh, we're back. We're back to the same game as before. We're just messing up our commentary.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what? We're not talking about their wardrobe?
What are we talking about?
I really like his black T-shirt. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, it does match his black arm brace.
Yeah, and his black hair. Now he's got the pro gamer wristband, man, as you should. I believe he's only wearing one though. It kind of shows you me and Speed wear 2, so Terran's a harder race.
Yeah, that's true. This is more of a fashion thing. This is more like having a bandana around one of your legs or something like that.
Oh yeah. My son always has one pant leg like up his leg some, and I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, just like this, this is True's gang symbol now. Artos is to know that his son has joined a gang. But oh my God, what year is it?
He scouted for this as well, guys. Okay, I gotta just fill this in from last season. This started happening, and it was done against Snow by Sulky, where to avoid like cannon rushes, he would hatchery first at the 3rd base. So this is something that Best literally looked for. Oh my God, man. He is going to force a cancel on this 100%.
Yeah.
You aren't going to block that.
I want to rewind it for a second here, because we got to emphasize this might look so crazy. It's like, how could this work? He knows that Best will cannon rush at the natural. So he just insta scouts the base that True will go to instead and makes cannons there. Now the problem is that if you pull a ton of drones, you can just overpower the cannon. So there's 2 probes here. Every drone shot is super important. He kills one immediately. He needs to target very carefully here. Now there's a second cannon coming. I think that True is dead.
Yeah.
Because he has lost so many drones. The hatchery needs to be canceled. It needs to be canceled. Guys, it did not get canceled.
Where are these drones going?
So maybe they're going to go try to kill the cannon that's making it the entrance. But I guess he doesn't actually know where his opponent is. That's so funny. Look at the mini-map. He actually hasn't scouted him yet.
What is he even looking for with that drone going through the middle of the map? Does he think there's a main base at 9 o'clock on Radion? What is that drone doing? Is he looking for a hidden Templar tech at 9 o'clock on Radion while he's getting cannon rushed? What in the hell is going on?
I'm going to suck and rush his hidden second base. Like, no, it's not that matchup. It doesn't work that way. Okay, so all he has to do is pull probes. The Lings are going to come down. He can throw a gateway and plug this up. And dude, okay, get over there. Get that block up, man.
Oh, that block, Tasteless. This has to be over. GG. Oh my god. Oh my god. True getting mangled there. That's like, you don't expect him to insta-scout your third and cannon rush it right away. But well done by Best. He predicted what was going to occur and just slammed True from it. And I mean, this is one of the cheesier days of ASL that we've seen since 8:15 made it in.
I can't believe how cheesy this is. It's also not just that it's cheesy, it's like blind cheeses. Truly, though, that was like so advanced. So basically, he said, okay, I know you always avoid the second base, so you make your second base at your third base, so I'll just scout that and make cannons there. I'm not going to make them behind the mineral patches either, by the way. I'm just going to make them to the side, like they did the first week StarCraft came out.
Wow.
We've gone full circle. I can't believe it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, this has been maybe the best day yet of games. Honestly, we've had some crazy ones.
It really has been. I don't even know what to say with how insane these games have been. We're going to go to Metropolis next. Hopefully it's like a one-hatch lurker opening against a proxy 2-gate. Like, that's what I'm kind of hoping for at this point.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Maybe a scout rush with a DT. Like, that would be neat.
I think we did worse than that. I think it's time for True to make a hatchery inside of
that's
main.
right.
Okay, we gotta go. Yeah. Yeah, we gotta go a little bit older.
Yeah.
All right, guys, this is it. This is the final game of the night. Let's do this. One of these two moves on, the other one is knocked out. It's like every game is better than the game before, so that every game of the ASL is now the best game of my life.
Yeah, it does feel that way sometimes. Well, unfortunately, Hero and Royal are out of the tournament, so we're definitely not going to have a super big dip. Now, the one thing I want to say, because we've seen a lot of adrenaline flowing through True every time he wins, and this is like the most important game. I will actually go ahead and say I really want him to just do a 3-hatch Hydra Bust. Just go super all in. It's like the easiest thing for him to do without really panicking. He's super used to it. It's not hard to execute the 3-hatch Hydra Bust, right? So, like, just try to block the probe and nail it and see if you get to the round of 8.
You know what, though? Hold on a second. There's actually extra cheeses you can do on this map versus Protoss because the main is so big.
Yeah. Damn, Protoss players in the audience today.
Yeah, Protoss is definitely not a Terran player right there.
No, definitely not. He was sitting up
looking
straight,
at the arms,
he had muscle tone, handsome face, no acne.
Yeah, well, it was a man who looked like he could touch his toes. Definitely not a Terran player.
Yeah, definitely not a Terran player. It looks like he could carry in all the groceries at once, man. What can I say?
Yeah, he can pick up a box without throwing out his back. Definitely not a Terran player. Yeah, this is one of the annoying things. The minerals on this map you could attack through, and it's so difficult. And it's like not efficient for the Zerg to send a drone around, but you have to. So, yeah, the main is so big on this map. There are a couple of cheesy drop builds that Zerg can't really do on other maps, but this map's so big you can do them. So we'll see what happens. I mean, True's been super cheesy. Not that Best hasn't been. I mean, with the cannon rushes and everything else. They're also close enough to each other that, like, some of the drop play, if it happens, would make sense. By the way, the second base is put where the third base is again. He's not checking for cannons. Obviously, Best isn't cannon rushing this time either. But, you know, it wasn't like True. Keep in mind, you know, if True made his second base where the second base normally is, that's a very cannon rushable spot. So... Yeah. Anyways, these are the decisions being made right now.
Not surprised to see that. Not surprised to see a pool first build here either. Doesn't want to deal with the craziness that Best has been able to pull off. Best already has a cannon up, making his gateway. So it looks like pretty standard openers. I don't think we're going to see anything too aggressive, but we'll try to keep an eye on the timing of this gas. And, of course, is it going to be a Hydralisk den?
I think you're probably right. Excuse me. I think you're probably right, Tastosis. I believe it's going to be a Hydra Rush. We'll see if it's not. But, you know, that inevitability in how the games are sizing up, don't you feel like Best would also sense that? And doesn't that in some way give him an edge here?
Yeah, you would think so. But on Dominator, he literally skipped Stargate, went Citadel, saw that there was no layer, and still died to a Hydra bust, even though he didn't see the den, so that would have been maybe the final thing he needed. But, like, I mean, you're lining it up for him. You're giving him, like, every clue. It's like, anything can happen against a 3-hatch Hydra bust, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, you really do need very crisp execution to stop it.
So he's got the Lings out here. Wait. He's just going to slow Ling bum rush this?
Yes.
He just went around the probe. He went around the scouting probe entirely.
That's not good.
This is so bad. Yeah, so what happened back there, it's funny, I actually didn't quite follow it until the Lings moved in. The Lings were able to just go around the probe that was being chased by one Zergling, and Best never went inside to check for the Hydra bust. So the Lings just ran in and killed the cannon, and here we are. And watch less about how many probes are killed, because Best is going to be pretty good at keeping them alive, but instead think about this more from how often probes have to, like, drive towards and away the Zerglings and are therefore not mining or returning minerals. And this is going to give True a crazy edge. It's going to be hard to measure what that edge is, by the way. Also, Hydra bust inbound here behind this. But it's hard to measure how this is, how behind Protoss is, because every game is unique, different probe kills each time, different amount of interruptions on different numbers of probes, right? So the Hydra Den is done. Ling speed's done, which is really where the Protoss is strained, because, Lings can get in and get out. And probes, as good as they are as units to control, they are so much weaker versus Lings. So the Dragoon shoots down the Overlord. That's funny to see another game here. Yeah, where True drops an Overlord just outside the front. Because, who knows? You might end up needing DTs to survive the Hydra bust.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, he's killed something like 4 probes in the main base so far, I think. Obviously the Zergling Micro has been very good. Looks like he might be losing him. No, he actually does wiggle them away. But this looks to me really good for True. If I was a betting man, Tastosis, I would bet on True right now. It just, like, really looks good. The fact that he's killed multiple probes, he's keeping him busy. The Stargate, yeah, he'll have a Corsair flying out relatively soon to try to check on this, but I feel like you add the Lings into the Hydra bus, and it just becomes so difficult for Protoss to hold.
Yeah. Well, he got a 4th hatch. Is he going to make Hydras and actually move across the map? Because, you can also he has a lot of drones, actually, at the 3rd base. I think we kind of saw the Hydra Den and thought it had to be a bust, but... Okay, no, sorry, guys. He is going to move out. I thought for a second, gosh, it feels like it's actually been a minute.
It could have been because of the Overlord loss, maybe? The Overlord loss, like, he looks at that and says, okay, we'll make a hatchery to kind of make up for this in a way.
Yeah, I think actually the Overlord that was killed, I was thinking more about DTs, but yeah, I mean, obviously that gives you supply. Maybe he couldn't get over here in time.
Yeah.
By the way, 3 Hydras, you can just run out here with the 3 Zealots and Dragoons and attack this. Like, this is not actually a very strong army.
No.
Yeah, he just micros us back. This is not the same kind of threat I think True thought it was going to be. He hasn't made a cannon that's going to tuck under the forge yet, so we could still see +1 attack denied. And go ahead, Artosis.
I was going to say, well, he's going to have to move out pretty quickly if he wants to deny that, because he's not really sending many Hydras. It's like, here's 3 of the initial 4. He lost the other one, and like a couple more coming, but yeah, this is not scary for Best to deal with right here. He already has his Citadel up and everything as well, so just pushing it back pretty simply.
Yeah, like, it's funny. I think the situation is better for True, but just seeing these Hydras going to come out and he's sort of hemorrhaging them like he just did there. Like, this is actually not going great for True. Like, I think he should have kept these back until he had, like, 7 or 8 and then come out. Like he's got now. Now, he's lost, like, 5 or 6 Hydras that could have been up here at the front.
Okay, the Hydras are starting to gun down this wall, and yeah, you never really tucked in the Forge as far as we sometimes see, so the Forge is getting targeted down really quickly. He's focus firing that specifically. +1 is not going to finish. So that's unfortunate for sure. That's like a big deal. That's a big moment for True.
So DTs are out. This is not any kind of sneaky play like a DT drop, which we can see in some of these positions. What Best is going to do is stay back and try to power up and push out. Very straightforward approach.
Wait, did he finish +1? Because that DT was 2-shotting. Oh, maybe those took damage earlier. That makes sense. Okay. Because like
I think
Zerg
he's
gets
just targeting weaker ones.
Yeah, that has to be it.
No, he didn't get the upgrade.
Yeah. Okay.
So it should be double Forge inside the Protoss's main.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here comes the bus. Very important moment right here. Best starts to pull some of his probes up to kind of block a little bit. So far, so good. Doesn't look like he's going to be broken right now, but more Hydras are on the way.
Sometimes you can throw a pylon down here or even a gateway in the front just to kind of sandbag them from moving in. Spire starting, by the way. Would not be shocked if this was mass Hydra into Templar. Remember that Stargate tech was never really utilized because it was a Hydra bust. Which means that mutas are a very good approach. I mean, he's got one Corsair flying around, so like that's not going to do anything versus mutas. That's used to scout. The Stargate tech, when you start to get Hydra busted, turns into a scouting tech instead of an anti-muta tech. But, Best is known for making Dark Archons. We could have an epic Dark Archon game here.
True.
Where he catches this and kills it, if in fact True is going to go for the mass Muta play here, the Templar snipe play.
Is Best about to hide a Nexus? He just clicked his probe down into a very funny location.
Yeah, he is, and I think it's a really smart play. I think whenever Protoss is getting... Oh, he's going to scout, I guess?
Oh, that's weird.
Look, I actually think the hidden Nexus is fine.
Yeah.
It does slow your push down and maybe makes the game a little bit more complicated, where like maybe it's better to just power on 2 bases and try to come out and fight. But I don't think a hidden Nexus is terrible. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
And so you always send this out and hide it. I don't know if we point this out enough, but like, okay, so he's going to do both.
Yeah.
So you want the Archon back there because the mutas a lot of times in these Hydra bust games will fly into the main first because there's oftentimes no cannons there. They've been completely ignored because everything was about stopping the Hydralisk attack early on at the front. And then what you do is you just have the Dark Archon sitting here with a Templar. You freeze them. You do either 2 storms or a storm and like a Corsair shot, and they all die. And you laugh. You laugh so hard it almost kills you.
Yeah. There's nothing quite as cost efficient as Maelstrom plus Storm on a group of Mutalisks. So he has a few goons there. Those can finish him off as well. He's got the 8-gate production, the 2 Forge. If he catches these mutas, it's going to be a big moment.
Now he needs to wait until they're bunched up.
Oh! Now he's got to move these. He's got to move these.
You
Storm.
have a couple seconds.
Storm.
You got to do this very precisely.
He's missing
Storm.
it.
Storm.
Oh, there.
Storm.
Just barely got it. Woo! If he had gotten it a little bit faster, he would have killed all of them right there. But he might catch them on the way out. Just barely not. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, it was great.
To tell the tale.
It was great.
Go back and tell all your friends what happened. So that was perfect. That was a huge gas investment that was not traded. It was lost. The Dark Archon, by the way, I mean, its role is still going to be in the game. You know, you can use this to push. You can freeze Hydralisks, lurkers, whatever. I mean, it can feed back a Defiler later on in the game. So he just remade it. Now, that's interesting. What is the energy on the Dark Archon, I wonder?
Well,
and is it at 200?
Yeah, he had just hit 100 just a little bit before the mutas got there. So I think it's pretty low at the moment. And this second group of mutas, this is the thing about True. You kill his mutas, he just makes more. The guy is not a lurker user. Like, he wants muta, he wants Hydra. And, you know, he's getting some storms to be used on the mutas. It's not super cost efficient necessarily. Oh, just gets out of there.
You know, but let's remember that the, most of this has not been Templar pickoffs. I think he's gotten 1 so far, and he's killed some probes, and that's annoying. But remember that, there are going to be probes accumulating down here at this 3rd base that has not been scouted yet. But, now the Mutalisks are bruised. We're almost at the point where Protoss wants to move out on the map. Although I'm looking at the supplies, and Protoss is pretty small.
Yeah, he is looking kind of bad right now. If the bottom right kicks in and he takes his third base up here, like I could see it being okayish, but the supply is really good for True. And I love the double Dark Archon, by the way. It's a good read against True because like there are a lot of games that you can go back and look at of True just staying on Muta Hydra literally forever. Like it's like watching DRG in the old days of StarCraft 2. It's like, wait, the Hive? What's that? Like, no, we're gonna stay on this layer tech and we're gonna try to kill. And you can see, look at this, another fresh group of Mutas flying up, but he has a Dark Archon in the main base waiting for this.
You know what? It never occurred to me to make a second Dark Archon. It was almost like it was a hero unit. It's like a Tauren Chieftain or something. He's going to freeze there. Now he thinks, all right, well, you don't have anything over here. It's going to be a double freeze. No, it's not. Oh, no, it is. It is.
Dude.
Okay.
Holy crap.
Great play.
Holy
So, I
crap.
mean, there's been a lot of kills over here. Zerg basically lost on both fronts. One Dark Archon was picked off, but, I mean, you can make as many as you want in a game like this. And remember that Zerg doesn't know about the third base.
That's so important. That is so important. That 12 o'clock base is going to be what he thinks is the third. And eventually he'll figure it out just because he'll be like, how does he have so much? You know, like eventually you look at it and you realize that something is amiss. And I feel like I'm already kind of seeing that. Obviously we see the whole map, but like Best has a lot right now. He's been very cost efficient, which is true, but like these are big armies.
Oh man, the Dark Archon. It's it's funny. It just has enough HP. It's a little bit like a Defiler in a lot of these games. It is hard to snipe that unit. So he's just continuing to make Mutas. He's got +1 air weapons or +1 air attack.
Well,
oh gosh, there's like nothing in the main.
Yeah, very, very little. But, he's got the Dark Archon, so they're gaining energy once again. I can't believe... Well, I can believe it because I've seen it so many times, but he just keeps making the Mutas. Look, he's bringing in a smaller amount. He wants a smaller amount of Mutas to get Maelstrommed, and then he'll bring in the other Mutas. I think that's the plan.
It's funny. It never occurred to me that the Zerg could just keep making Mutalisks or that the Protoss can just keep making Dark Archons. I don't know what that says about my view of the game. I was just like, okay, well, you need exactly one, and Zerg would never overdo this but here we are. Here we are, and kind of in my own understanding of the game, this uncharted territory of just only massing Mutas and doubling down. But, I guess all of this is going to get answered with this push. Oh my God, if he gets to those eggs, he doesn't, he pulls back.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best time to hit the Zerg is if they have eggs morphing outside your base and you kind of push their army away and kill the lurkers as they come out. Now, with small numbers of Mutas, I mean, again, they're not getting too much value, and the third base is uninterrupted. The fourth base, which is actually where what the Zerg thinks is the third base for the Protoss, is actually the fourth base for the Protoss, is not going to be stopped. So now we're in a situation where Protoss is going to be pushing on 4 bases versus Lurker Contain. When you see Lurker Contain this big, it means that everything else defensively for Zerg is going to be very fragile.
Yeah, yeah.
In other words, if you push out and you break this, all the other bases fall apart.
He's going to scout bottom right, man. And this is where things are going to get really messy because True needs to go down there and kill that, but he also needs to hold this push. So Best instantly pushes when that gets scouted. He has a huge army. I can't believe those Mutas
my God, the cannon's
suicide in the
finished.
cannons. Well, he just needs to send like 3 or 4 units down there, and he'll kill that base really super easily. Sends a larger group of Hydras, but that's...
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you send the Hydras back, those Hydras could have helped in defending this push. Now, there's one giant glaring Achilles heel, and it's the Observer. It's sniped. He even dives in further to see if he can get not actually a second one.
This is not looking good for Best. He's going to lose this base 100%. His observers are being sniped. Like, we see that True has the right types of ideas here. It is a very Dragoon-heavy army, a lot of High Templars. So he might be able to just be efficient enough to push through here anyways.
Well, I mean, he's getting further out. He's kind of sprinkling storms everywhere. He has something like 9 Templars, which means he can kind of keep storming this. He's probably got a bunch of workers queued up. He's sending Zealots out. Okay, I think... there is still the smallest glimmer of hope here for Best, but he has to break this. He cannot lose any more observers. and he's going to try to go for it now.
All right, let's see if True can hold on with this containment. Another nice storm going down. He's actually very close to the morphing lurkers right now, so he could actually interrupt a bunch of lurkers. Now, they do end up finishing, starting to burrow them and just kind of run everything back. Best is finding really great size storms in here, though.
I mean, man, he might actually do this. The Observer's alive. I mean, look at what Protoss has right now. It's like endless storms, a ton of Dragoons. The Zerg is about to be fractured. And then it's going to be the time to push. Now, there's a big attack coming up here. The Dark Archon is still here, apparently. He freezes that, but can't... I mean, with 2 Psy Storms coming up here. Yeah, I mean, Best is going to hold this too. Dude, I think Best can win this.
Well, it's still 5 base for True. Like, he still has big macro going on, but Best is taking amazing engagements. He's on 2-1-2 upgrades. He's been so cost-efficient against all the Mutalisks all game long, which has been a huge part of this. But, yeah.
Well, he's got...
Yeah, go ahead.
He's got the 4th. I mean, well, he's getting the 4th here. The Contain's going to reset, but it's the same army as before. He's going to have to try to snipe the Observers. Observer speed is done, by the way. I can't tell if vision range is done, too. But when Observer speed is done, it's so easy to pull them away. And now he's going to push down. Now, I mean, these Dragoons are happy to fight tiny numbers of Hydras and Lurkers, even without Storm. And you can see that True's going to try to run around and counterattack here. The Zealot sees this, so it's an easy maneuver in here to just defend where the cannons are making. He's going to throw more cannons down. Even in the corner, Psy Storms are going to come down. And, you know, True, he's so known for aggression. He dives in, but that makes the Storms maybe a little bit easier. The next Lurker wall is making, but, I mean, am I crazy? If Best attacks into this, I think he can break that too.
I think you're right. The Dragoon count is off the charts. It feels like you really need Hive at this point to deal with Best's army. Like, Plague, Dark Swarm, Crackling is something that would absolutely crush the kind of composition that's so Dragoon heavy. But yeah, Best is doing a great job controlling his army. It's just the thing I'm afraid of is True has been on 5 base forever. Like, he's able to continually refill this, and if Best takes one bad engagement, True will roll through his expansions.
Oh, man. I mean, the counterattacks are also an issue, right? Okay, he's going to come up here now. These Storms are actually pretty superb. Looks like they don't get most of those Lurkers. And, you know, the funny thing is when you have that Observer speed, you know, when the Observers aren't moving, the Hydras almost push them away when they attack them. Observer speed's so strong in the late game like this. Best is continuing to come out. I do feel as though True is kind of overexposed. Like, look at this. There's like Lurkers up against a wall, literally being surrounded. You know, Lurkers are supposed to be doing the surrounding and the containing, not the other way around. Best is powering through. The supply for True is shrinking. And I think it is finally Best's turn to move out on the map.
Dude, he is
This
playing
is insane.
Out of his mind. The amount of Dragoons that he is running around with, just gunning down absolutely everything. True is having a very hard time making the right sort of defensive play here. He has a lot of Hydras out on the map now. No Lurkers at the moment, as far as I can tell. I think he needs to hit like a big flank on these Dragoons. Dragoons hate to be flanked.
Nice Storms. I mean, at this point in time, you know, you just take any engages you can get here is True. I just think there's like enough to defend every time, and now we see Best taking out the bottom left. And this, if he kills this and kills the bottom left main, but I think even killing the space might be enough, then that's going to be True on 4 bases versus 4 bases.
Wow.
No, I'm sorry, 3 base versus 4 bases.
Yeah.
Math is hard.
Best just gave a huge smile as he started to attack that 5th base location. He knows he's going to roll through that bottom left of the map. He's defending his 3rd. He's defending his 4th. Chills Tasteless. This is unreal. What a victory.
True is just now processing it. He just now realized he lost. GG.
Wow,
oh
what a
my
game.
God.
What a game from Best.
Whoa.
Holy crap.
Woo! Couple of PvZ heroes today.
Oh my God.
This was a tale of the Protosses that were not going to be taken down by the Zergs. And I really honestly feel really sad for True because he put up such a great performance today, but just was not able to compete. And I think he had a very winning position. Kind of a crazy game. So many Dark Archons made, so many Mutas made. But in the end, it was Dragoon push versus Lurkers. And, you were saying it earlier, Tastosis. He's not a Dragoon, not a Lurker player.
Yeah, he definitely is. You can see that reflected in his plays much more about the Mutas, but the double Dark Archon really ruined him. He had the right tactics against a single Dark Archon. It's that second one, I think, that really kind of sealed the deal. Wow, that was just an awesome series. Best advances with Bisu, a double Protoss advancement here from Group B.
So we're going to go back to the moment the Mutas came in here. This was funny because
this is where he found out there was
two Dark Archons.
Look at this.
So watch, you got to be really careful here because you freeze that, you need to let your probes get through. He actually did storm the tail end of the probes. I guess most of them weren't picked off.
That was so
And from there, that really freed him up. Yeah. I learned a lot from casting this game here. And then, it was really about, this is kind of post-Lurker Contain. He just sort of pushed out, and the Zerg can keep trying to widen that concave, but I mean, eventually it's just too open. There's too many spots to defend. It seems like here he tried to counterattack, and this is probably, I mean, there's a lot of important moments, but maybe the most pivotal moment outside of the Mutas being frozen.
Yeah.
Because here's where the Dragoons got to actually wrap around and fight the Lurkers.
Yeah, that's six Lurkers that didn't fight with the Hydras. All the Hydras fought and died, and then the 6 Lurkers were attacked. You can't do it like that. You have to have the Lurkers in position and the Hydras supporting them while they're attacking. You can't have it be 2 layers of defense like that.
Exactly. We're going to go to an interview now, guys, and then we're going to close out the show. Just trust me. It's coming.
ASL Season20
And that does it for Group B of the round of 16 of ASL Season 20, as we have today's second player with a ticket to the round of 8. It's Best. Congratulations. Thank you, thank you. Truly a dramatic close to the day as you advance in second place. How are you feeling? It's just like last season. How is it I always end up having to go all the way? I have to play all till the end, but I do end up getting good results. It was a really difficult fight, but with this good result, I feel relieved. Just like you said, it was a fight until the bitter end today as you claim victory. You suffered regrettable losses in the opening match as well as the first set of the losers match, but it was set 2 of the losers that started the turnaround. You found yourself in a moment of crisis as you opted for a very bold play. You built gates in your opponent's main. How did you come up with this build? This was not a build I had prepared. I just hit a probe and thought, wait, I don't think he realizes. If I lose this one more game, I'm out anyway, so what the hell, let's give it a go. And somehow, it ended up working with a bit of luck. And in the third set that followed, you found yourself on the back foot in the early game, but with a brilliant timing, you claimed victory and moved on to the decider with a really quick win in set 2, a game that lasted but 3 minutes. What was it like seeing your opponent's hat-trick? Wait, again? That's what I thought. I was like, what if? My cannons finished just in time. With a bit of luck, I managed to gain some momentum. And once again, you went to the rubber match, set 3. In response to BTS's play, you went for a hidden base. What was that about? I was really far behind, and also BTS doesn't play Overlord speed. I thought he might not scout, so I built it there. It worked well. I was able to win because I got to mine a lot of gas. And we can't forget those Dark Templar either. When were you absolutely sure you've won? When I punched through at the 3 o'clock and moved out, my upgrades were really good and so was my composition, and I realized I can win if I don't overextend. It was a similar group makeup today as your round of 24 group last season. You first lost to BTS and then beat him in the decider match that went all the way. The result was all but identical today. I'm sure many people helped you ahead of this victory, and a lot of fans showed up to the studio video to cheer for you. Please address them.
오늘 마지막 경기 딱 하는데
I was practicing with Hyuk yesterday, and playing that third game, I suddenly remembered what Hyuk said. He said, "Best, bro, when BTS plays Hydra Muta, that is all he plays." So I built 2 Dark Templar. I have Hyuk to thank for that. So, for helping me practice Soma and Hyuk, a lot of fans and Yukisa members came down here. When I beat Queen, the cheers were so loud and it felt so good. I wanted to win again no matter what. I worked hard and I'm glad I got this good result again. And our Yukisa members cheering online, thank you so much. Especially Ginuda, our boss, thank you so much, thank you. And this one friend, he came here for the very first time. With me winning like this, I am so glad. And also my fans are very worried because my form isn't so good nowadays. I too personally worry about that too. I'll take it step by step and do my best. Thank you. We've just heard from Best, who once again this season lives to fight another day at the end of that decider match. Once more, congratulations on making the round of 8. Thank you. And that does it for our interview with Best.
What a day of games, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. This has just been a PVZ dream, Tastosis.
Certainly has. Really fun to watch the new kind of 2 Stargate meta evolve. Some great games from True as well. This is his 2nd season in a row getting in. Excited to see if he can continue that. You know, he's obviously delivering some pretty high quality games overall. But yeah, Bisu and Best definitely a step above today. I think Queen has to be a little bit disappointed. Some rough matches for him overall, and not the result he was looking for sure. Like Queen, I think needs to make a round of 8 to feel like he did okay.
It was really exciting to see Bisu get out, honestly, pretty easily. It's almost hard to remember after the drama with Best and Queen and then Best and True, but you know, it was so cool to see Best get out and to kind of get out, you know, in a way that he's been so famous for, one of the only guys that gets Dark Archons. And then, you know, I guess what sticks with me from this group is it's just sad that True didn't make it. I mean, he worked so hard. But, you know, that's the round of 16. We'll be back next week. Group C, guys, Snow, Sharp, Jaedong, and Mini. That's going to be insane. And then we're going to go to a Terran-heavy group to close the round of 16 out with Light, Speed, and... Oh, I'm sorry. Let's actually Terran and Zerg. I'm crazy. Light, Speed, and then Larva and Soma. So a big TVZ group.
Yeah. Group C is our only group that has all 3 races in it. So that's probably going to be the best group that we have. And honestly, when you look at it, that's an insane group. Jaedong's in great shape, too. So I'm very much looking forward to Group C.
Tough one to call with that.
Yeah.
You know, it's good to be with you guys. ASL forever, man. I've been enjoying these games so much. I'm always happier when ASL's on than when it's ASL isn't an off season. So I cannot wait for next week.
Yeah, and you know, we didn't have that many Protoss get through in the original qualifiers, but already 2 are in the round of 8. And Group C, Snow and Mini. If you guess Snow and Mini are getting out of this group, that's not a terrible guess at all. So we might actually end up having like too many Protoss in this tournament. I think we need to cut them down on qualifiers a bit more.
I think we need to do something. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Please, if you can, go sign up on our Patreon at patreon.com/ASL English, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.